All right, good morning, everybody. Starting off today with no intro music. We're going to tackle a very tough subject today. I hope you guys are all having a good day. Big news yesterday, Charlie Kirk has died. He was shot while at an event that he's very commonly known for. And so this wasn't a unique event that he was at, but obviously he died. So that was, shocking for the people there. I know a few content creators were there, streamed about it, talked about it. I know a lot of you have been in my Discord discussing it. A lot of you in my comment sections asked me to talk about it today. Let's talk about it today, especially since here on this channel, we do philosophy through pop culture. My name is Brittany Simon, if you're new, and we talk about death a lot. We talk about people dying a lot. We talk about the ethics around celebrating people's death, the ethics around mourning people's death, the ethics around feeling indifferent about someone's death. We often tackle on this channel, especially when it relates to politics or civil rights, where does violence fit into liberation? So there's a lot to cover today. But I think what we should start off doing is listening to Charlie. We'll start there. I'm not a religious person, but my thoughts go out to his wife and kids. That video is going to live forever on the internet, and his kids will one day grow up to see their father killed. That's devastating. But let's talk about the ethics around mourning bad people when they die. And Charlie Kirk was, without a doubt, a very bad person. He was deeply unethical. He was racist. He was a misogynist. He was transphobic. He was advocating for a worse world. He adhered to patriarchal religions that considered women second-class citizens. So he is, by every definition, a very bad person. Let's talk about what that means in terms of mourning him as somebody who views him that way. Okay, let's start with Charlie's own words himself.
If I die,
How do you want to be remembered?
if I die,
Everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.
Charlie Kirk, thank you so much.
As we go through these TikToks and as we go on, I don't know if you're used to other people's YouTube chat, but let's keep my chat civil. Not civil like liberal, like dog whistling. I mean like kind and compassionate, because we are an audience who tends to be victimized by people like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk spent his life making sure people like me and people like you don't have a safe America to go home to or safe home to go to. And so I just want us to remember that even though we're angry and even though we might feel a way about things, you have to remain kind in my comment sections. So express your anger, but do it with kindness, okay? So just a little warning for people. Let's keep going.
A capitalist every single day, Chank. I live as a I live like a capitalist every single day, Chank. I live as a capitalist, okay? I live when I believe.
No.
What do? I get charity every single year.
Hold on.
What's my salary?
Charlie,
Less than his.
Charlie, take
Come on,
a seat.
Chank, let's go.
Charlie,
What are you doing? Sit.
take a seat. Take a seat.
Psycho?
All right, no. Take a seat. You're gonna take a seat. You're gonna take a seat over
Oh
here.
my God.
What's my salary?
All right.
Oh, ridiculous. All right, behave, everyone. Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Okay.
I practice what I preach, Chank.
Charlie.
You
Stop.
do not practice what you
Stop,
preach.
Charlie.
We would have been called the Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks. We would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. You know, this is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic, they think this is persuasive. They think we're like, oh, of course, that's why we need affirmative action, because you have impressed us with your brilliance. Of course. Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson. They think this is persuasive. They think as they kind of now reveal that I'm only here because of anti-white, anti-Asian forced discrimination policies. That turned me into a bitter, resentful activist that hates white people, honestly, through our policies. Judea and Samaria. It's not called Palestine. I don't think the place exists.
What?
Because it doesn't. It's called Judea and Samaria. It's not called Palestine.
You don't believe that Palestine have the right to exist?
No, everyone has a right to exist. Show me where it is. It's a non-existent place.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we're gonna.
That's why we're on different planets, right? But what is the national identity of Palestine? Educate me.
Palestinians.
What is that?
Like, what do you mean? What is that?
Yeah, what ethnicity are they?
Arabs?
Okay, so all Arabs are Palestinians?
No, but they are Arabs. What you trying to say? What is your point?
I'm trying to say, because at what point does somebody become a Palestinian?
When he was born in Palestine, or with his parents are Palestinians?
Again, this is why we're talking past each other.
What you trying to say?
I don't think the place exists.
What?
Because it doesn't. It's called Judea and Samaria. It's not called Palestine.
You don't believe that Palestine have the right to exist?
No, everyone has a right to exist. Show me where it is. It's a non-existent place.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we're gonna.
That's why we're on different planets, right? This is the great replacement theory. Remember we talked about they want to replace white Anglo-Saxon Christian Protestants with Mexican Nicaraguans, with El Salvadorians. You have seen the result of the great replacement. In California, 1 in 4 people have been born outside of the U.S. Let me say that again. 1 in 4 people in California have been born out.
Hold on, pause. Don't spread misinformation in my chat, guys. You are obviously watching some Republican fucking bullshit. I was watching a video. Looks like they found a weapon. It looks like the shooter was confirmed trans radical. As of literally 30 minutes ago, they have not found a shooter. So unless you're seeing news I'm not seeing, I'm blocking you from the chat. Because calling it a trans radical when we don't know that, when almost every single shooter has been a cis white male and you have not gone after cis white men, do not try to like change this angle to being like, oh, trans people shoot people. Okay? And that's really what we're getting at today. And I will block every single person that puts conspiracy theories in my chat and or makes this an issue about trans people when you were never willing to make it an issue about white cis men.
Born outside the U.S. You can see the white population collapse in L.A. That's intentional. They've wanted it that way. And if you do not assimilate, and if you are an agent of disorder, of chaos and confusion, adios, hasta la vista, baby. We will find you and your family, and we will return you. All 20, 25, 30 million. Every single one of you are going back. No exception. Is that a theological statement, or it says you are enough?
You are enough, exactly.
What does the statement mean, enough? Like, I don't quite understand it.
It's to help suicide prevention.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and so by saying someone is enough, you are enough. Like, just the fact that you matter, that you're alive, and that alone makes you worthy of value.
Super noble cause. Do you think it's effective?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
Cool. I'm glad to hear that.
Right.
I actually think that that's the reason we have so much suicide, is those sort of messages, actually.
Sure.
I think that self-esteem actually drives people to think of themselves more than duty and obligation, and they look inwardly and not externally. But I know you mean well, so I don't want to bash you for that. But that's why I was interested, because it's not a biblical thing to say people are enough, actually. Jesus is enough. You are not enough. We're far from being enough. We're sinners that should be in eternal damnation, and only thanks to the blood of Christ are we given eternal life.
It is. I agree.
No, the point is that it's so materially insane to think that 1 in 5 American women will be raped in their life.
It is. I agree.
No, meaning that they're lying about being raped, that they're lying about being sexually assaulted.
You believe that people lie about being sexually...
All the time.
This feeds into what I was saying. A clip somewhere that you were trying to get the officer who murdered George Floyd pardoned, and I just want to know
Yes,
what your
ma'am.
reasoning was about that.
Well, George Floyd didn't die because of the police officer. He died largely because of a drug overdose.
But he had his knee on his neck, and we all saw the video.
But the knee on the neck is actually an approved police technique that police departments taught Derek Chauvin to use. Do you know that George Floyd was saying, I couldn't breathe, well before that restraining technique? And
So why'd they use the technique if he already couldn't breathe?
Well, because he was actually resisting arrest. According to the medical examiner, he was drug overdosing in real time. That it wasn't because of the police officer, Derek Chauvin, that put his knee on the neck. Our whole country blew up because of this incident, and it was largely based on a lie.
What was the lie?
The lie is that there was a white police officer that went after a black person just because he was black, and it just wasn't true.
Okay, but he killed him. Like, that doesn't...
Well, the county medical examiner disagrees.
So then why did he get sentenced?
Exactly.
Like,
That's a good
no,
question.
I'm saying...
It's because it was largely a show trial where actually they were not allowed to submit
what
evidence.
trial?
A show trial. A show trial is an example where you put people on display or a show for a political purpose or political means. And this is an example of that. Derek Chauvin was not given a fair hearing in this trial.
Also, to anyone in chat who says shit like Palestine is an area region, not a country, just like Great Britain is made up of 4 countries, I'm going to block you too. Okay? I'm going to block anyone who uses rhetoric that allows any excuse for the genocide to keep happening in Palestine. We recognize Palestine. We see them. They are a people. They are a land. And they deserve peace. So absolutely anyone in chat who tries to add in rhetoric, I know y'all think you're edgy fucking liberals on the internet, but do not forget that the same rhetoric that you use when you're trying to be a debate bro adds to the escalation of this kind of situation. Charlie Kirk and everyone like him spends every waking day they have basically advocating for violence against everybody but themselves, thus adding to the tension we are all experiencing. Okay, so remember that the world is a reflection of us as a whole. Everybody, every single one of us is responsible for how the world comes about. So everybody crying that the liberals killed Charlie Kirk and every conservative with every piece of their rhetoric is contributing to the escalation and tension in the country and around the world. The Trump administration is causing tensions between countries. People are going to war. Remember, all of this is done by men. All of this is being led by men, and women are uplifting it. So remember, we are all participants, no matter who we are. And so we must do our best to harm reduce. But I will not take any Palestine slander in my chat or any blaming the libs for the death of Charlie Kirk. Because at the end of the day, and God forbid I should ever die, using a death of somebody to paint a whole group of people like the worst people who have ever existed. We have a crisis in this country, and it is being fueled by this administration that Charlie Kirk is so close to. Do not get it twisted. That this president has escalated, has made things so tense, has kidnapped people off the streets, has arrested students who are legally here, has gone after people who voted for him. And so when we talk about escalation, you need to focus. You need to get involved, okay? Chat says, what war? Russia, Ukraine, right? Poland just enacted Chapter 4. Right? We're like looking at tensions between countries that are so insane. A genocide happening in Palestine, a genocide and famine happening in Sudan and Congo. And all of this coming out of colonization and the impact the American government has had their dirty little hands in the whole time. And as an American, we wish for reform so we don't have to have situations like this occur. But situations like this occur don't come out of nowhere. They are a reflection of us as a whole. And every single liberal boy that spends his time debating Charlie Kirk, including fucking Hassan, that Parker guy, the Dean guy, you platform, talk to, and validate Charlie Kirk every time you're willing to engage with him. You're contributing to the harm of the world. You should never talk to him, platform him, or give him any legitimacy. The fact that allegedly, according to the internet, Kyle Kalinske was saying Charlie Kirk wanted to have a show with him, allegedly, also puts him in that bubble too if he's doing that. Stop talking to people like Charlie Kirk. Stop talking to bigoted people. Stop talking to deeply cruel people who make a living making millions of dollars talking about how minorities deserve to die or be arrested or be kicked out of their countries. Stop it.
Reject more young women need to get married at a younger age and start having kids. Reject the siren song of modernity and have lots of kids. Like being a partner at a local law firm actually isn't that big of a deal. Having 3 kids is a really big deal.
Charlie, I'm Addie and I'm 14. I'm a freshman in high school, and I was wondering, as someone who has like a different opinion on college, What would you say the pros and cons are? Because I'm interested in political journalism. And what would your advice be?
I think there is an argument to bring back the MRS degree. And no, seriously. And just be clear, that's why you're going to college, right? Don't lie to yourself, I'm studying sociology. No, you're not. We know why you're here. And that's okay, actually. And that's a really good reason to go to college, actually, especially an SEC school. Like, you will find a husband. We should bring back the celebration of the MRS degree. Say college is a scam, but if you're going to find your life partner, that's actually a really good reason to go to college.
What the hell?
I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
When blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today, they were less murderous, there was less break-ins. Why is that? And the data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened?
A certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder.
Yeah, DEI stands for
one of the biggest.
Didn't earn it, just so we're clear.
Can we also acknowledge, due to the laws under Jim Crow, that black people were significantly hindered from economic advancement?
This is a really important question. The data shows not really. Black Americans are poorer today in 2024 than they were in the 1950s. The disappearance of the black father has been the #1 driver of black poverty in this country. At least agree that black dads not being around is a bad thing.
Anyone's father not being around is a bad thing. Starting in the 1980s and continuing onward, there's been a war on drugs. Is this correct?
I like the war on drugs. Blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. That's not a war on drugs, that's a culture problem. Why are so many blacks committing murders outside of their population? So we've spent $20 trillion on uplifting black communities, $20 trillion, and black Americans are poor. Food stamps, subsidized housing, Medicaid, public schooling, subsidized college. We're talking about $20 trillion spent on the Great Society, and yet black America is poorer, more murderous, more dangerous.
Part of
what does
equity
equity mean?
is
you mean taking
allowed-
from other people?
You had a daughter and she was 10 and she got and she was
Well,
going to give
I-
birth
I
and
do
she
have
would
a
no
daughter.
wait oh and she was going to give birth and she was going to live. Would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
It's no, but it's a real life scenario that happens
calm
to
down.
many
The
people.
answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So that's insane.
Even think that we should bring back, public executions on certain people. No, but think about it. I think that, and you guys should laugh, but it should be done. You guys should laugh, but think about it. Some of these crimes are so heinous against humanity that it must be done as a statement and not say that, we're gonna make you a sympathy. So for example, I think that Luigi Maggioni guy, I think he should get the death penalty. I think that if you're going to go kill someone in the back of the head in the streets of New York and act as if I should be sympathetic because you didn't get a health care premium you didn't like, I think you should get the death penalty for that. I think if you take a life, your life should be taken, and it should be done, obviously, through a jury of the peers. So anyway, that's how I would respond to that. It's the administration of justice, and it's also, more specifically, the life in the womb has not hurt anybody else.
Right.
The person on death penalty definitionally has hurt somebody else's life.
Thank you. And then
Appreciate it, yes. Gun laws, not more. I think we should have less gun laws, not more. I think we should have less gun laws, not more. I know people disagree with this. And I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year. I would agree with you. A well-armed citizenry is the greatest protectorate of liberty and freedom in this country.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage.
There's a lot of people being policed based off of how they show empathy or the lack thereof when it comes to Charlie Kirk. And I believe there's a lot of videos and things this man has said that's echoing in folks' head. Probably debating with the devil right now. Him, Ronald Reagan, George Bush. Yeah, they having a debate of hell.
All right. One more video.
Makes sense if you don't feel a deep well of empathy. It makes sense if you don't feel a deep well of empathy for someone who made a career out of refusing to show it for others. I want to normalize that because sometimes when a public figure dies, especially in a tragic way, people rush to say, you have to be compassionate right now. Don't speak ill of the dead. But if that person spent their life dismissing other people's pain, mocking it, minimizing it, even actively contributing to it, it makes sense that your empathy tank might run dry. That doesn't mean you're celebrating. It doesn't mean you're cold-hearted. It just means your compassion has limits. And those limits are often shaped by how much compassion someone showed in their lifetime. There's actually something psychologically healthy about noticing that boundary. You're not obligated to manufacture sorrow for someone who never extended any to you, your community, or people you care about. You can hold both, I don't wish this on anyone, and I don't feel sad about it either. That's not cruelty, that's honesty. And it feels really weird and uncomfortable to hold both of those in your body at the same time. This isn't about telling you not to be compassionate. It's about giving you permission to notice whatever you honestly feel or don't feel and trust that it's valid.
Okay. So, Tao Te Ching, my favorite one. Avoid war, 31. Among all tools, weapons alone are cursed. All men come to despise them. Those who follow Tao do not need them. Weapons are not the tools of the wise. Only as a last resort do the wise use them. Peace and tranquility are valued by wise rulers. Even when victorious in battle, they do not rejoice, for they never exult over the killing of others. Those rulers who rejoice over the killing of others will never bring happiness to their people. The killing of others fills the people with sorrow. We lament with tears because of it and honor the victors solemnly, as if we were attending a funeral ceremony. I don't think killing Charlie Kirk was part of harm reduction. Okay? Whoever did it was not helping anyone. Can we agree on that? Do we agree? Whoever did it did not do it to help people. Okay? They did nothing but escalate tensions. They did nothing but kill somebody. This did not help anybody. Correct? This was a selfish act by a selfish person who made a decision to, at the expense of a whole movement of people who would be blamed for this, do something that did not help anybody. Did not help the left, did not help progressives, did not help conservatives. Nobody is benefiting from this. Yes? Okay. Charlie Kirk was not just a YouTuber. He was friends with the President of the United States, had direct access to him. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, has not only made an official statement on the US government website, but has made a public statement on all his socials. He has not only called for the flags to be flown at half-mast in honor of Charlie Kirk, but every political person in this administration who is in a position of power has either formed a prayer circle for Charlie Kirk, made announcements. And either way, whether you call him a YouTuber or not, I'm sorry, I'm a YouTuber and I certainly do not have Donald Trump in my back pocket. He is not a YouTuber. He is a person who had political goals of running for the president of the United States one day. This is a person whose fans wanted to vote for him when he was going to be old enough to run. He died at 31. He was not a YouTuber. He was a person with aspirations to have power over you, the people. Okay? So Charlie Kirk is not a content creator. He is a person in politics seeking power. He raised money for Republicans. He's the head of Turning Point USA. He's not just some guy. Okay? He's not just some guy. Okay? So I need you to lock in and focus when you're like, he's just a YouTuber. He is not a YouTuber. He is not just some guy. Okay? He 100% had every intention of becoming much more than just some YouTuber. Okay? This was his path into building enough fame to eventually run for politics. Okay? So who knows why he was really killed? We do not know. Maybe he was killed by an ex-lover. We don't know. But whoever did it isn't helping anyone but themselves. Whoever killed him for their own selfish gain. So this isn't about us, right? We're not killers. Do we agree that we would not do this crime? That we would not want to engage in the world like this? That we wouldn't want to scar everybody at that event? That we wouldn't want to send 2 kids a notice that their father had died? Do we all agree that we would not do this? That is us. This does not exempt the fact that this administration has been killing, kidnapping civilians. People have died under their custody. The fact that Charlie Kirk has made and this is why I showed you his past, because a lot of you don't know Charlie Kirk, and I don't blame you. A lot of you don't know who this man is. He built a $1 million empire, multi-million-dollar empire on advocating for you to die, for you to be imprisoned, for you to have your rights taken away. He built a legacy at the expense of you. That is his legacy. He died an evil man. And that is so sad. To die an evil man has got to be just the saddest thing in the whole world. But he did die an evil man. Now the question is, should we mourn when bad people die? I think it's okay to mourn when bad people die. I think it's okay to feel indifferent. I think it's okay to feel relieved. I do not think it's good to feel excited. I do not think it's good to feel giddy. I do not think it's good to celebrate. I don't think it's good for you. You deserve better than to be excited that another person died. You deserve better than living in a brain that is elated and excited at the death of a person. You deserve better than that. Okay? But I don't think it's wrong to feel indifferent. And I don't think it's wrong to feel a little bit relieved. I just don't want to see you celebrating the death of anybody. When we know more than anything, we need to use compassion and love, especially in moments like this. Now, this is different, and I think we all know this, that this is very different than conversations around political violence in hopes to seek liberation. These are not the same conversations. Just like, this Ukrainian girl who just died on this public transit, this wasn't a political statement. This was a mental health crisis mixed in with a lack of safety in community. This was misogyny. This was so many things. This girl died alone, took moments to die, and nobody helped her. Nobody reached out to her. Maybe they were terrified. Maybe they were frozen. Maybe they were in fawn state, right? But we do not have community. We are suffering from our lack of community. We are suffering from our lack of values. And I say this every time I see these political people. You cannot ask me, or you cannot be surprised that people on public transit aren't coming to the safety of this woman when you literally are willing to vote for a rapist to be in the White House. It's hard to care about our neighbors when we can't pay for our bills or pay for our groceries, or we're not sure if we're next. It's hard to care about each other when we make the most money talking about how little we all matter, right? And so I need you to understand, right? When the Trump administration says Charlie Kirk was politically assassinated, who killed him? A government? A political body? Or was it one singular person with a vendetta? One singular person making a decision does not represent a movement unless the movement somehow made it a plan to enact this death. So do not let this administration convince you this was a political assassination as if to imply a whole body of people were behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was killed by one singular person, as far as we know, as far as the authorities have said. And that singular person is responsible for that death. I don't know anyone else who's involved. I don't know if he was talking or she was talking or they were talking to anyone else, right? Okay? We have to be very clear, okay? That they're trying to paint it like a whole group of people were in charge or participated in this. I didn't do it. I didn't see anyone advocate for it. Nobody went to that event today thinking Charlie Kirk was going to die. Whoever made that decision did it selfishly and for their own gain. It has nothing to do with anybody else. So do not let this administration gaslight you into thinking this has anything to do with you. You didn't do this. And you wouldn't do this. Don't start advocating for the death of somebody you never even desired to kill. Don't let them paint you as the murderers you never were. You didn't do this. You didn't kidnap people. You did not kidnap people off the streets. You did not go to Palestine and genocide people. You did not do this. If anything, you are advocating against it. If anything, progressives are saying gun restrictions, let's go. If anything, we are saying background checks, let's go. If anything, we are saying, hey, harm reduction, let's go. What are you doing? This is not us. We did not do this. I don't want to live in a community, and I know you don't want to live in a community where this happens. Okay? So again, don't let this administration twist it, because I know they're trying. Now, I will answer questions, and I am here in good faith, but I know a lot of people come to my work and they don't know what I do. but I do philosophy through pop culture. And I am a person who believes in the goodness of people and our ability to harm reduce. But I also believe, whether you like it or not, that most of you are bad people. In the same way, we're all bad people because we all participate in life, and life is not without harm. We are not trying to be good every day. We're trying to be less bad every day. You are a good person, but it is damn hard to be a truly good person. And all of us are trying. But Charlie Kirk didn't one day of his life try to be a good person. Not one day of Charlie Kirk's life. Not one day of Trump's life. Not one day of Netanyahu's life did these men attempt to be good people. Not one fucking breath that came out of these men's life as they make millions of dollars off your name did they try to be good people. They built a legacy of evil. And so they will die bad men. And that is devastating. Devastating. Chad said, imagine Charlie's wife watching this. Imagine marrying a man who you uplift at the expense of yourself and your civil rights. A woman who engaged in a patriarchal religion, who upheld a patriarchal narrative, who kept her second class, pregnant and barefoot. Imagine being a woman who participates in uplifting and maintaining the patriarchy. And now imagine your mothers and your grandmothers, because that's my whole goddamn family and I love them to bits and pieces. But when it comes down to it, they are absolutely on the wrong side of history. When it comes down to it, the people I love so dearly are absolutely on the wrong side of history. And they will die bigots. And they will die people with good intentions. But the road to hell is paved in good intentions. Okay? But this is why I say to you, the world is a reflection of us as a whole. None of us are exempt from the world. None of us are exempt from the harm that we cause. We must live every day harm reducing to the best of our ability. Not perfect. I will never advocate for perfection. If you're new to my channel, and I see a lot of you are in chat, you don't know me. You clicked on this video because you want to see somebody rant about Charlie Kirk. You do not know me. And you're coming in with your preconceptions and your biases and your prejudice, and you're like, who's this girl talking about Charlie? You're not here because you understand what I do or you understand my beliefs. You're going to go ahead and put me in a bubble, in a little box, and a little definition of who you think Brittany is, and you're going to run with that. But let me tell you, I will never advocate for violence. Most of the time, violence is never the answer, except when it is. And this was not one of those moments. But I will not waste a single breath pretending this was not an evil man. Okay? Who has questions? Go ahead, class. I'm waiting. Who has questions? Go ahead. Let's see. Discord said, the words and actions we choose in this lifetime will be remembered in our death. Our death doesn't absolve us of our actions and the harm we cause. It just strips us from the chance of making a path towards redemption. If you perpetuated bigoted right-wing propaganda at the expense of a minority individuals to progress the furtherment of your own status and wallet, then the remembrance will and should reflect that. Exactly. And Charlie Kirk will certainly be remembered. He will certainly be remembered. Okay? All right, let's see. Any questions? I love the curls. Thank you. Okay. Chad says, I do feel sad. A life was taken in a gruesome way. I feel sad for his family. I feel sad for the person who did it. I feel sad for the people who witnessed it. This is a tragedy. Chad says, do you think Charlie thought he was doing the right thing? Does it matter if evil is intentional? Great philosophical question, Chatter. Thank you. Intention does matter, but at some point it stops mattering. I think most people have very good intentions. I think the most evil people on the planet have the best intentions, and I still think there needs to be accountability for that, right? And that's why you have to be introspective and you have to question, am I in fact evil? All of us have moments of evil, philosophically speaking. All of us have opportunities of temptation, and we must revoke and abolish that temptation from even an option. But it will be an option time and time again. And every time Charlie was given an option, he chose the wrong path. And that's the point. Whether his intentions were good or not, the wake of harm he left is all that matters. Okay? All of us engage in evil. And I want us to remember that. No one is exempt, okay? Mikey, membership for 19 months, says, do you ever feel feel torn about covering stories like this that can lower your energetic mood? Or do you feel like it's your responsibility because it's your job? You know, it's not my job. It's my pleasure to have an opportunity to maybe grow up a little bit, maybe be a voice of reason. You know, I'm 36 now. I'm going to be heading into my 40s. And I don't want to be these men. I don't want to be these evil people. I don't want to be these selfish loser streamers who are crying because they're afraid they're next, instead of recognizing how they have all contributed to the tension and the discrimination and the hate of this country. I don't want to be one of the YouTubers that get told Brittany contributed to this, because I am trying so hard to harm reduce. And all I am seeing is the same people, Hassan, who is going to debate Charlie Kirk in 2 weeks, Ethan, who literally is going after Palestinian content creators and being very pro-Israel, okay? Charlie Kirk, Destiny, who's a predator facing a felony in Florida. All of these men, all of these streamers, okay, who spent their whole life making millions of dollars dividing the fucking world, are now worried they're next. Of course, you should be worried. You are participating in a system, in a bubble that is all about winning and does not care about the truth. You must harm reduce. You must stop what you're doing if you want a particular outcome. I am not making a prescription. I am making a suggestion based off of what I'm seeing. Okay? How do you feel about Dean Withers crying about the news? Dean Withers and Parker and all of these people who debate these conservatives are 100% complicit in the way that things have gone. Charlie Kirk is as responsible for his death as all of these streamers are. Stop platforming, talking, uplifting, engaging, and collabing with the most evil people in the world who make millions of dollars off you engaging with them. It's one thing to cover it. It's one thing to talk about it. It's one thing to deconstruct it. It's another to build your whole celebrity status, Dean and Parker, on purposely chasing, debating, and egging on people like Charlie Kirk. Congratulations. Do you feel big and strong right now? And I know they're kids and I know they're young, but they are making a huge mistake, right? Maiden with a super chat says, preach. Thank you so much. Okay. We have to think about these things. We have to think about how we're participating. You have seen me time and time again as a streamer, take down videos, make statements, make corrections. I am not perfect either. I am an imperfect person, but goddamn, I try. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. You need to try. You need to attempt to try. You should be concerned that now public spaces feel like a threat to you. Oh, but clue in. Everybody lock in. Especially these white men, lock in. Congratulations on officially feeling how every minority feels when they're engaging with people in America, especially with people who so casually walk around with a gun on their hip. Welcome to trans lives, black lives, brown lives, women lives. Welcome to being a person who's walking in a crowd of people worried that today they'll be a target. And congratulations on feeling for one fucking second the feeling all of us feel at every moment of every day. And congratulations once again for mourning the man who perpetrated, made millions of dollars, and made a reputation on continuing that narrative and that fear in this country, who built on it, who made a platform making him so fucking wealthy, okay, that the president of the United States has access to him and he has access to Charlie. And now the United States government is making an official statement about this quote YouTuber. This quote YouTuber that made a literal living evoking fear in all of us. For just a second, these streamers are feeling it. Congratulations. Stop collabing with evil people. Stop collabing with evil people. Stop collabing with evil people. Okay? And I know it's hard because I've done it myself. And then I realize, oh my God, I can't believe this person is so evil. Denounce them. Stop doing it. Say you regret it. Be ashamed. Mikey, thank you so much for the super chat, says, hope my question didn't come off as judgmental or anything, just a genuine question. I appreciate you. No, I think it was a great question, Mikey. Thank you for that. It was a great question. I am trying to get ready to be the grown-up in the world. Because God damn it, I can't be 40 years old and Ethan Klein on the internet. I cannot be Hassan on the internet. Hassan's younger than me, but I cannot be these men. I can't be Destiny on the internet. I refuse to engage with the world like these petty, selfish, narcissistic men. How could Hassan think about debating Charlie Kirk in 2 weeks? What is he thinking? Why would he do this? Why would he even think to do this? The video is horrific. It's devastating. I don't think you should watch it unless you need a reminder of how disgusting gun violence is. But I also think if you are not yet free Palestine, you need to watch those videos. If you do not yet understand what's happening in Sudan and Congo, you need to watch those videos. If you do not understand that children are being murdered every day, Israel just killed more people in Qatar. If you do not understand, you need to watch those videos. You need to stop watching Charlie Kirk's death and go watch the death of these thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people. Millions of people are facing famine. You need to go watch those videos. You need to watch those starving children die because of people like Charlie Kirk and people like this administration and people like Netanyahu. You need to go watch those videos. You need to feel for just a second what these people might be feeling. You are spending if you are spending even a second crying about Charlie Kirk, that's fine. Good for you. But you better spend an equal amount of time crying for Palestinians. You better do that. Go spend the same amount of time crying for people around the world. Femicide is up. Trans people are terrified for their life. Europe is putting out warning advisory for gay people not to go to the United States. Trump is literally kidnapping people off the streets. Trump, the same man that Charlie Kirk voted for, advocated for, and on the day of his death wore a Make America Great hat. How great is America now, Charlie? Is it great yet? All right, questions? Let's see. Chet says, I think Hassan has a naive hope to reach different audiences by debating political opposition, but I don't believe it is truly genuine. I think he's truly hoping to grow his platform. I mean, he's doing something. Let's see. Gage with a super chat. Thank you so much. Did I miss this quote? I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is made up. It's a new age term that does a lot of damage from Charlie. Yeah, we showed it. Charlie Kirk, who advocated against the word empathy. I saw Elon Musk apparently tweeted out like liberals. This is the liberal violence. Hold on. Elon, Charlie Kirk. Hold on. The left is the party of murder. Elon Musk, the man who says his daughter is dead because she's trans. Elon Musk thinks the left is the party of murder. This is what I'm saying. Do not let them hijack your values. Do not let them hijack your narrative. This was not the left. This is one singular person. And unless you can prove to me an organization of people killed Charlie Kirk, do not let them blame a whole group of people. Because remember, when there's a school shooter, we don't blame Republicans except to say that they do not advocate for gun legislation, right? Gun laws. But we are not blaming Republicans for this shooter's response. The shooter is responsible. The ideology that catered to him is responsible. But not all shooters are equal. Plenty of gun violence happens in domestic situations. We're not blaming Republicans when husbands kill their wives. Okay? Because it's not Republicans that are doing it. It's the individuals picking up the gun. But if Republicans are going to push back on legislation to keep guns out of the hands of domestic abusers, then the Republican Party is guilty. So do not let this administration trick you into thinking a whole organization of leftists got together and said, hey, take out Charlie Kirk. This is not a political assassination in the way they're trying to frame it. And that's the point. They want to frame it this way so they can come at you harder and blame the left for everything happening in this country as if the left isn't a reaction to everything happening in this country. The left was born out of conservatism. How many of us were born Republicans or raised conservatives? How many of us, okay, were raised conservative, and now we are left? The left was born out of a retaliation for the way we were raised, discriminated against, ignored, targeted, abused. They act like the left isn't their children. Their children. Elon Musk's daughter is the left he is talking about. Elon Musk says his daughter is dead because she's trans. His daughter is the left. So the left is this horrible, violent community. He's going and targeting his own child. And that they want to call us the what? Now listen, I'm not a liberal. So liberals, I don't want to hear you speak today, because God knows you have helped contribute to the genocide in Palestine, to the bullshit from the Democrat Party, and you have absolutely done nothing because you've been too busy fighting the leftists, saying we're purity politics, we're never happy, we're never content. Oh, I'm sorry that we're not somewhat excited about a genocidal maniac being voted into the government because they have a D in front of their name. What is it? Chainsaw Man. Thank you so much. Says Bernie Simon, keep cooking. Here I am, plant-based cooking today, girlies. Okay. Chad says, didn't Charlie Kirk say the deaths caused by gun violence is a sacrifice we have to make to keep the Second Amendment? Yes, he did. We showed the clip. Yes, he did. And I am saying, once again, if you're just coming into stream, because I see more people have come in, The death of Charlie Kirk helps nobody. Whoever shot and killed Charlie Kirk did it selfishly and at the expense of everybody on the left because we're being blamed for something we had nothing to do with. And the only people who have escalated to the point where it's like the people, not the only, the people who have continually escalated the tensions between everyone in America is going to be on the responsibility of this administration, the rhetoric from Trump since 2016, all of the people who worked or were friends with Trump, including Charlie Kirk, and of course, all of the streamers who keep engaging in amplifying the voices of bigoted people. Okay? All right, any questions? Let me see. I keep missing it. You guys are talking too fast. So like, you know, you can repeat it if you need to. Chet says, can the response to the assassination just be like thoughts and prayers? If not, why not? Well, I don't pray because I don't believe in God. So like thoughts and prayers is a meme now. It's like, bless your heart. You know what I mean? Can the response to the assassination just be like, you don't have to have any response. I'm giving you permission not to have any response. I'm giving you permission to ignore it. I'm giving you permission to feel relief. I'm not saying you should ever feel happy, giddy, excited, elated. You should not feel joyful at the death of another person. But you're allowed to feel indifferent, relieved, shrug. You're allowed to do a lot of things, right? Just as the shooter's probably a right winger that didn't like Charlie Kirk. Well, maybe there's something, who knows, right? We don't know. We don't know. Chet says, did Martin Luther King want violence? He absolutely made plenty of comments about the rioters, the protesters, the validity of political violence. You know, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. were not so far apart. People just think they were because that's Republican propaganda. But Martin Luther King Jr. had an idea of easing people into understanding protest, not to advocate against it. His whole life was protest, right? Violence sometimes is necessary, but not often, but sometimes. The question is, do we have the wisdom as a population to choose violence when necessary? This whole Republican Party and administration is calling for the death of people constantly. Eradicate the death penalty. Stop with your public hangings. Stop with police brutality. Stop acting like you care about human life, but you actually... And every time you vote for a Republican or say MAGA or you say make America great again or you say Trump has a point, you are advocating for violence. Every single fucking time. Every time. Republicans cause the violence and the left fights against it, and then you look at the left and go, I can't believe you're violent. I would argue it's a form of self-defense. So you need to be very careful when you come into a space of people whose special interest is politics, history, people. And you need to understand that because my special interest is philosophy, I know you are devoid of any philosophical thought because you sit here and advocate for evil without knowing. You're ignorant. You're ignorant. You don't know better. You don't know better. And because you don't know better, the world will suffer. Your ignorance will lead to suffering. Your ignorance will lead to suffering. And that's why I say being a minority isn't enough. All the black people I saw trying to, speak on Charlie Kirk's death, trying to say fuck you to the liberals. Being black isn't enough. Being trans isn't enough. Being a woman isn't enough. We all participate in upholding structures that are against us. We must deconstruct. Okay? I am not perfect. You're not perfect. Okay? But you are ignorant to think that these people give a fuck about you. And the same way I was ignorant when I was a pick-me, when I was a conservative, when I've been a liberal, when I've gone through my journeys, as an Assyrian with parents who are immigrants from Iraq, who are pick-me tokens who came to this country and built a business and had a good life and had 10 kids and also vote MAGA. Yeah, they're ignorant. They're ignorant. And they remain ignorant because for some reason they found a way to make it work for them. And yet it doesn't work for their children and they wonder why. Okay? So I know better than most how people get trapped in the MAGA cult, how people get trapped in their bullshit, how people get trapped in their ignorance. No one deserves to die, but death will come for you. So be ready so you don't die a bad person. None of us get to live forever. And the thing I would ask for you, the thing I would want for you, if I prayed, I would pray for you. And I would say, I hope you do not die a bad person. But most of you will. And you should start thinking about that. You should start thinking about that. Okay? Chimsa, thank you for the super chat. Says, Kirk preached the righteousness of the gun. as the very same gun spilled his blood. We're seeing the interaction of human ideals and human behavior, and death is what dissonance sounds like. Chad says, I just want to see more love in the world. I know that statement doesn't really help anyone, but lately things just feel so ruthless in a general way. Well, in a philosophical sense, I don't want you to sink into nihilism. I want us to zoom out. I want us to remind yourself that everybody is living in a moment of time. You are living history. Okay? I know everyone always likes to brag that they would have taken down Hitler and they would have protected the Jews, but you wouldn't because they didn't. And you're not doing it now with Palestine. It's easy to think we're going to be the hero, but what is the concept of a hero? It's a patriarchal concept to make men feel good about themselves when they kill other people. Stop trying to be the hero. Stop trying to be a good person. Recognize you are bad and you're trying to do less bad every day. And recognize that by recognizing you are bad, you are good. A good person will know they're bad. A bad person will never think they're bad and will always think they're good. Okay? You need to hold yourself accountable through your own values. Stop trying to be a hero. The road to hell is paved in good intentions, and I know you all have so many good intentions. But because you are ignorant, you are bigoted. And because you are bigoted, you are afraid. And because you are afraid, you will hurt so many people. When I know you don't want to, but you will. You will hurt so many people unnecessarily. Please don't do this. Because I don't think you internally want to. I think you're so angry and you're so disconnected from your own humanity. You don't know how not to be the bad guy. Be angry when it comes to justice. Be peaceful when it comes to anything else. Be angry when injustice is in front of you. And then use your wisdom to face that injustice. We do not face injustice with anger. We become angry because of injustice. I'm not angry at the world. I'm angry for the world. Stop being angry at liberals. Stop being angry at Republicans and be angry for the world. We don't need to be angry at people. We need to be angry for people because we are suffering under our own weight of ignorance. And so we look to suffer wisely. That's the goal, yeah? We all suffer. Everybody suffers, no matter who it is. The question is, can we learn to suffer wisely? It's really hard. It's really hard to be a good person, you know? Let's see. Chet says, let me see. My state governor called for the flags to be half-mast today for Charlie Kirk. What the fuck? He's just a pundit. Well, I think that's the point, though. I think you need to pay attention to the fact that is happening for Charlie Kirk when it doesn't happen for other people. And that should just tell you that this man wasn't just a YouTuber. He wasn't just anyone. He was very much somebody. He was someone the Republican Party was gearing up to run for president. Do not forget who Charlie Kirk is. He is not just a content creator. So that's why they're calling it a political assassination, right? They're saying this was our guy and you took him out. And now I don't know who the person is who took him out, but that's certainly not helpful for anybody. So whoever did it was incredibly selfish and incredibly just cruel to the people who were at that event who had to see it. And if you've seen the video, you know it's horrific. And if you're horrified at this video, wait until you see what's happening in Palestine. If this video made you sick to your stomach, wait until you see what's happening in Palestine. Every single person that's upset for Charlie, I want to see you just as upset for Palestine. I expect watermelon emojis in everyone's social media starting right the fuck now. Go ahead, girls, do it. Let's see you. Let's see you do it. Because that's really the focus. One man died, and you act like it's the end of the world. 100,000 people die, and you go, oh, what are you going to do? Hey, what are you going to do? Hey, it's a Saturday. I'm saying both are a tragedy, but for very different reasons. Dying a bad person is a tragedy. Murdering innocent people for land is a tragedy. You can say all you want, you care about unborn lives or babies' lives or you're pro-life, but does that show up in your politics? Does that show up in the way you show up in the world? Again, we need to harm reduce. Okay? And look, everyone's on a different journey. I'm not asking for perfection. But everyone can try their own way. Example, I'm plant-based. I just started the journey. I'm new to it. But I realize I don't really need to eat killed animals to survive. And as long as I don't need to do that, there's no reason for me to add more death into the universe. Plus, it's bad for the earth and it's bad for the environment. And there are other things I'd rather like do instead. And if we all went plant-based, we'd actually have better diets and probably live better lives. And we'd probably be really good. And everything would probably be a lot better. But I know it's hard. So I'm not asking you to be plant-based. I'm just letting you know that's what I'm doing. You don't have to be perfect because I'm never going to be perfect. But at least I can say with my full chest that when I say something horrific or wrong, I take it down. When I get things wrong, I take it down. Charlie Kirk has the audacity to say he's not racist, but I would never have the audacity to say that I was raised under white supremacy and I have not interacted or engaged in either racist behavior or allowed racists around me to get away with it. Okay? To say that I grew up under a patriarchal system and I've never engaged in pick-me behavior, but Charlie Kirk has the audacity to show up with a microphone and say he's not a misogynist? I know you're doing the work and they aren't, and it feels like, fuck, if I'm doing all this work, why should I care about these people who aren't doing any of it? Because it's not about them. It's about you. I want you to go to bed at night mourning the death of a person who died a bad person, not mourning the death of Charlie Kirk, right? I don't want you to hold yourself accountable and call yourself out for engaging, in bad opinions, or growing up in a world that raised you a certain way. And you're like, here I am doing all this work and holding myself accountable. And they're not even doing it. And they're making millions of dollars, right? Don't compare yourself to the worst people on the planet. What Charlie Kirk does has nothing to do with my life, and it should have nothing to do with yours. When you are trying to be a good person, we do not say, well, these bad people over here. No, we say, how can I be a better person? Or we say, what would Uncle Iroh do? Okay? So that's what you have to think about. You have to think about that thing. Chad said it's also 9/11. It is 9/11 today. It is. And as somebody with family from Iraq, with somebody whose family was divided on whether or not we should go in there, as somebody whose family with brothers who served, as somebody whose family is still there and living there, what a tragedy. Both 9/11 and going into Iraq was. What a tragedy. What a tragedy conducted and pulled off by a bunch of selfish fucking men. And you see, men aren't the problem because being a man isn't an issue. But adhering to a patriarchal standard, which gives you the permission to kill innocent people for your sense of agency that's a fucking problem. The United States going into Iraq and destabilizing the country, killing fucking so many fucking people. And for what? And I remember the way people cheered when Saddam died. It's okay to feel relief. But cheering for the death of a person doesn't show wisdom. I want you to be wise. Advocating for the death, praying for the death of somebody, that's not going to help you. It might feel like it helps you, but it's not. It's kind of like being angry after a breakup. Feels really cathartic. But I hope you're still not angry 20 years later. Because that says to me that you're still not healed. Okay? Okay, what am I missing? Anything in chat I gotta read? Charlie Kirk is far from the worst person on the planet. He's pretty damn close, though. Right? He's like pretty damn close. Top 10 worst kinds of people on the planet for sure. Right? Okay. Thank you for this, Brittany. That's a perfectly aligned comparison. Like, you could be Iraqi American and have people demand you sit in silence and be sad at the event that justified the violence. Wait. Did I read that right? That justified violence. I think ultimately the dilemma we have is that we're angry. And when we're angry, we don't know what to do. Right? And that's why I say to you, wisdom has to be, discernment has to be what you utilize in situations like this. If you're unsure, like, okay, yesterday, obviously it happened. And I saw that it was happening. But unlike every other fucking YouTuber who needed to make a statement right away because none of you goddamn meditate to save your fucking lives, I meditated. I sat with it. I thought about it. I talked to people about it. I thought, how could I come to stream today with a little bit of fucking wisdom? Well, everybody else and their mother, to just get an ounce of what? Monetization? To get your fucking opinion in there, decided to make a video within 3 fucking seconds. Why? Why was this your decision? Because that's their job, isn't it? Their job is to comment on everything in real time and to give no peace or wisdom for clarity. And I'm saying I don't want to be like all of them. Because I think they're all kind of contributing to the way the world is, right? Chad says, you seem to support the killers, right? From your live title. Yeah, I think you're bad at literacy. Should we mourn the death of bad people? It's a very important question to ask, since that's the justification the American government uses to kill people. That's what Israel is using to kill Palestinians. They say they're bad people, and so we should kill them, right? Think about that. And I say to you, anyone who thinks celebrating the death of people runs the risk of being, well, basically inhumane. You know, there's this thing that happens where people say, I know being a dictator is bad, but what if I'm the dictator? Still bad. Hey, I know killing people is bad, but what if I'm the one who kills people? Hey, I know this, listen to yourself. The Jade Effect, thank you so much, says, thank for the super chat. Thank you so much, says love/don't love these conversations. Had to block a few acquaintances that showed their true character and beliefs from this event. Yeah, I think what's interesting is seeing how people are more distraught over Charlie Kirk than and then say oh, I'm not going to talk about Palestine. Fuck Palestine. It's like, so you're sad about Charlie Kirk dying because it feels probably close to home. Probably like it could be you next, right? And I understand from a very narcissistic perspective, there is a reality where you are afraid because you realize you could be next. Ethan Klein was a good example of that, right? You're terrified. You're terrified because you are also contributing and have continued to contribute to the escalation. Ethan Klein is a multi-million-dollar person who's worth like $20 million going after small Palestinian content creators. And for what? Stop adding to the escalation. You have so much opportunity to de-escalate. All of you have so much opportunity. You are so rich and so privileged. You have a microphone bigger than I will ever have in my life. And the only piece of wisdom you have for people is this. This is your wisdom. Even Hassan saying I was supposed to debate Charlie Kirk in 2 weeks. Why? Why would you have talked to him? Why did Taylor Lorenz talk to Destiny? Why did Nelk Bros interview Netanyahu? Why are you consistently shaking hands with the devil? And then you're like, I want the world to be a better place. I just want the world to be a better place. No, you don't. You want to get rich and you want status. The world's not going to be a better place so long as you uplift and collaborate with these people. Because they're all the same kind of people. Trump and Ethan and Destiny and they're all the fucking same. Period.
I thought it was horrific. This is not, and well, like I said at the time, and people on the left were even criticizing me. They go, oh, Ethan was talking bad about Luigi. How much has he changed? That was my point. He went out and murdered this guy, right? What changed? Not a single fucking thing.
Look, I've talked about Luigi in details. I will not celebrate the murder of a person. I don't do that. That's not a part of my values. It's sad that we got to a position in life where somebody had to kill Charlie Kirk or felt they need to, or that Luigi felt like he had no other choice but to kill this person. Think about the difference between one singular person making a decision and your whole goddamn administration contributing to a genocide. Do not let these people fucking gaslight you. That one person taking power into their own hands, which is not always good. Not all power is bad. Power corrupts. I don't know why we're trying to act like, a power that leads you to murdering people in broad daylight might be a bad kind of power. But do not let them convince you that the singular action of Luigi or the singular action of a person making a decision is worse than a whole administration that for hundreds of years on the backs of a genocide, okay, the enslavement of a whole group of people, the continual degradation of that community, okay, is better than these two individuals making a decision. Okay, this administration, this government, America, all these patriarchal governments are doing more death and suffering every day to civilians and political opposition than you could ever imagine. So remember, right? Remember, okay? If you, Ethan, defended my chat, I will block you. I don't care if you've been here chatting for years because you still don't get it. Chatters, listen to me. I notice your names. I sometimes learn your names, sometimes. Your inability to understand what Ethan is saying is the problem. Okay? Listen to me when I say this. Ethan doesn't know anything. He doesn't know how to show compassion for Aaron Bushnell. He doesn't understand that Luigi was put into a position. He doesn't understand that people feel forced into a corner. And I'm saying you need to clock that this is devastating because people are pushed into corners. This administration has made people feel so scared. Okay, so worried, so without promise. This administration is so bad that Europe has put out warning advisories for Europeans who are gay not to travel to the United States. This isn't a joke. So Ethan isn't coming from a position where he's liberated, deconstructed, and thinking about how Luigi was put into this position. He's coming from this position of mocking Aaron Bushnell and mocking Luigi. And I'm saying these people are not heroes because men are never heroes. I'm saying these people are put into positions of being desperate. Never do anything out of being desperate, ever. And when you are desperate, you will make bad decisions because you are afraid. Okay?
Thing changed. That's not how we enact change. And so I wouldn't recommend watching the video, but for me, it it's terrifying.
I feel like it's such a terrifying moment for everybody, and to understand this is what we've come to, and I can't help but think about the poor wife, you know,
and kids. Yeah, we've all been scared. Some of us have been looking into getting our concealed license permit.
Yeah.
But seeing it like that definitely made it more realistic and very scary.
I've avoided watching the video, but I heard Ethan's reaction when he saw it. I was like, I knew that was something you don't see every day.
I was brought to tears then because I don't know. I don't think I need to explain it anymore. But I hope people take this seriously.
Take what seriously, Ethan? Ethan built a platform contributing to these things escalating. I remember when I advocated and I sat there and I said, somebody tell Ethan to stop escalating. How does Ethan not understand his whole thing against Hassan is exactly contributing to this escalation? And then Hassan feels like he has to defend himself, so he escalates and they escalate and they escalate. How does Ethan not get it? You guys, we are not exempt from how we participate. Thank you, Tihi, for the super chat. Says, you say what I need to hear, not what I want to. Thank you. You're welcome. I think that's the problem I'm trying to get you to understand. Now, there's a difference between being misunderstood. I get it. Some of us are deeply misunderstood. But genuinely, Ethan has got to, in his position of power, de-escalate the tensions between Palestinian content creators and his decision to sue them because he's bored. Okay? That's what I'm saying. We have to understand how we have contributed to the escalation. His community harasses people to the point where they have to delete social media because they're so afraid of his fans. Ethan has got to understand he's crying and terrified, as he should be, because he is 100% contributing to the environment the way that it is. Okay? And all of us are to some extent, whether we stay silent in moments when we should speak up, or we don't correct ourselves when we know we're wrong, or we don't acknowledge that we're people who do bad things. You know? We need to examine that. We need to examine how we all are participants in the suffering of the world, all of us. And we cannot be perfect. We can only harm reduce. But in so many of the most accessible ways for people to harm reduce, they ignore it because no. Right? Okay? So you need to understand that I'm never going to advocate for violence. I think it's very rarely necessary. Just like Tao Te Ching says, it is seldom necessary to be violent. Most of the world could be solved without violence, but men's default to desiring violence as the quick and singular source of a way to resolve a problem is the issue. So please hold yourself accountable, because it would definitely help us. It would help the world if you could. Please stop advocating for suing streamers, going after people, misunderstanding people, not understanding their position. If you do not understand someone's position, if you repeat someone's position back to them, they go, no, that's not what I said. Until they say, okay, yes, you get it, I feel seen, you do not get it. Most people, unless they're grifters, are very much eager to be seen. Most people want you to see them. They are begging you to see them, to humanize them. And if every time you're like, please understand what I'm saying, and you refuse to, you are contributing. Okay? You are contributing. And every time Hassan, every time Frogan, every time these people, every time they were like, Ethan, see me. And Ethan just refused and doubled down. They worked so hard to see him. I was there for the whole thing, girls. And I'm saying it's not just Ethan, though. It's the family he was raised in. It's the environment who educated him. It's the government he came from. It's the bubble he stemmed from. It's the people around him now. That's how it is with all of us. As somebody who's trying to break generational curses, as somebody who's trying to get her family to see the error of their ways, it's very hard when the error of their ways are tied to who they are as a person. If who you are as a person is so ingrained in you, let's say a patriarchal religion or something to that effect, right? It is going to be very hard to deconstruct that in order to do better. So I know, as somebody who struggles with her family, to get them to understand, you cannot blame liberals for the death of Charlie Kirk. You must, hold people accountable for the way they contributed to the situation even happening. And by the way, we still don't know why the shooter did what they did. We don't know who they are or why they did it. You assuming that is the problem. Start there. Stop assuming you know. You have no idea who this person was. You cannot fathom to know. Stop doing that. You are blocking any chance for us to know the truth. Are you interested in the truth? Stop guessing. Stop guessing. But you see how your inclination is to guess and then run with it? Stop guessing unless you're willing to say with your full chest, like, I could be wrong. Okay? We don't know. And does it matter if it's a singular person who made a decision? Now we can talk about harm reduction. Well, how does a person come to this realization that they feel like this is their only decision to make? This is why I don't support Luigi, right? This is why I don't support Aaron Bushnell's decision to choose violence. As I don't support most people's decision to choose violence, especially not people in positions of privilege who could have done something else. I don't support most of the ways people choose to protest who I think could have done other things to help their community. All forms of protest should benefit the community. All forms of protest should, by the data, by the numbers, by the math, show over time the benefit to the community. And if it doesn't show that, it's not good activism. And I say this to my pro-life family and friends, your activism isn't helping by the numbers. I can see by your protest of abortions that it's actually leading to more health deaths, medical deaths. It's not helping people. More suicides, more self-harm. It's not helping people. Regardless of your political status, just take it, just gauge it by that metric, right? Just ask yourself, is my form of activism and protest, by the math, helping people more than hurting them? And then decide if that's how you want to do it. Example, I don't shop at Amazon, a little form of protest, completely meaningless and a drop of ocean, but very meaningful to me, right? In a very big way. Okay? But I'm not saying you should do it. I'm saying it seems to help me knowing I don't buy directly from Amazon. That helps me. Okay? I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm not saying future Brittany might not buy from Amazon. I'm saying for now, I'm trying to do the best I can to not have to engage in things that I don't have to. Right? Chad says he was not a bad person. I'll block you in a second, bro. He was a very bad person. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. that most of the people on the planet are very bad people. That I myself used to be a pretty bad person. Not the worst person, obviously. You know, bad in a typical sense. I advocated against abortion. I used to be a gay person that was like, do gay people need gay marriage? Like, that's not good. That's bad. Okay? That's bad. Okay? Making excuses for predatory behavior because of how they were raised or traumatized. Yeah, that's bad. Guys, we're not good. You give human beings way too much credit. And I'm saying you need to process that. Can you give examples of how he was a bad person? I covered it at the beginning of stream. You can go back and watch it. I gave you like at least 15 clips of Charlie Kirk, or 10 clips or whatever it was, of showing how he was racist, misogynistic, transphobic. He literally advocated, he died being racist. He literally, his last words were gang violence. He died racist. He died advocating for Jesus Christ, a patriarchal religion that subjugates gay, black, or not gay, sorry, not black. Actually, though, wait. Colonization of Christianity has absolutely ruined the black family, but I'll let black people handle that story because that is true, but I'm probably not the one to speak on it. Okay? Gay people, trans people, women, the Christianity, patriarchal religions, okay? Not good. If you are in a patriarchal religion, you're probably somewhat of a bad person. But that doesn't mean you're always going to be a bad person. And I still will advocate for you to get housing and clothing and education, and I don't think you should be murdered. I don't think bad people should be murdered. Well, very brave. Everybody, bravery in the chat. I don't think bad people should be murdered. I don't believe in the death penalty. So if you think bad people should be murdered, you can start talking about that. But like, I don't believe bad people should be murdered. You know? So you need to think about that, okay? Chess says, but you were happy Kirk is dead. I'm gonna block you. I don't really get very happy when people die. I don't think I've ever been happy that someone died. I feel sad he died a bad person. I feel sad he died a bad person. But I wouldn't describe the feeling I'm having as happiness. I don't feel very happy right now. Do I look happy? I don't feel very happy. Disappointed. I'm frustrated. I'm sad for the world. But I'm not happy, you know? Just as I needed this stream and convo, hey, you know what? I feel like the 600 people in this chat feels like they probably needed it too. You know? I think we all need it. I think no one is having the real conversation that we need to have because it's scary to acknowledge how we all are honestly fucking up. You know, chat says LOLC, echo chamber, block anyone who I disagree with. Think about it this way, Habibi. I'm blocking you from my chat. At least I'm not advocating for you to be unhoused, uneducated. You did that all on your own, apparently. But I'm not here to advocate against your basic human rights. I'm simply blocking you from my chat. But the same people that you are so busy crying over would be more than happy to see you dead if they made money off of it. Would be more than happy to see you unhoused if they made money off of it. Are more than happy to keep you in a delusion that it's your fault and everything that's wrong with you is your fault and has nothing to do with the system as long as they make money. And I am simply just blocking you from chat. And you can't handle it. And you want to call me a snowflake? Girl. You know what I'm saying? The same people that are like liberals are so sensitive can't fathom that this man they're crying over was a bad person. Discord said, if Charlie said gun deaths are a reasonable price to pay for the Second Amendment, what does it say about this incident? Do we all think he'd still agree? I think every man cries in the face of his own death. I think every man weeps. Every man feels fear. Every single one of us will feel a moment of true either readiness or fear when facing death. I hope you're ready to die. You know, the hope is that we're all going to be ready to die. But there's no way Charlie Kirk went into that moment and thought, I'm going to die today. And I hope it happened quickly, and I hope he didn't suffer. I hope he didn't even for a moment suffer. You know? Says Charlie Kirk was trash, but don't put Christianity on it. Christianity is trash. With peace and love. All Abrahamic religions are inherently evil. with, you know, but we don't want to also engage in bigotry. So no Islamophobia in the chat. No, like anti-Christianity. Like you can be anti the religion, but you can't be anti the people who happen to follow the religion. Okay. I understand why people are religious. I grew up religious myself, but patriarchal religions are inherently evil. Yeah. Sorry to help you. I mean, I was reading chat. Sorry to tell you. Yeah. That's a hard one for people to process, right? Because you think religion liberated you. But how can religion liberate you if it's on the backs of people you have to basically deny liberation to? How can a religion liberate some of you but not all of you? How can the same gods that the white slave owners or the white people who enslaved black people, the same God they prayed to was the same God that black churches pray to now? Make it make sense. Is the same God that God? The same God you pray to that didn't bother saving any of the children in school shootings? The same God you prayed to who didn't bother to save your child from being raped? That God? The same God you keep praying to and somehow there's still a genocide happening? Your God's not coming to save you. And I'm so sorry, because that would have been a great story to tell, wouldn't it? If I keep praying, maybe he'll show up. He's not coming. It's you. It's all on you. It's all on us. And I know it's easier to say, God's got it. I don't got to worry about it. But man, if you actually thought about maybe it's on you, maybe the world would be better. Because then we would hold ourselves accountable and we would try. There's nothing I hate more than watching millions of people around the world suffer more than they need to because they're waiting for God to figure it out. It's okay to believe in a God. I don't know if it's so okay to believe in a God at the expense of your relationship with your own kids and the world around you. You know? Chat says God gave us choice, which is more powerful than being able to do good. Wait. Chat, thank you, mods. You clearly lack a masculine father figure. Damn, bro. You keep going on and having a relationship with that non-binary God of yours as you deny trans rights. Thank you, mods. Chat says, go watch the video, everyone. Just imagine Hassan or Brittany in that position, then ask yourselves, how would you want Republicans or anyone else to react? Do you want us to call them evil? I don't give a fuck what Republicans would do. I don't give a fuck what Democrats would do. I told my partner today, if I ever die in this position, do not let anybody on any side use me as a political talking point. Fuck all of you. You don't care about me. Same way you don't care about Charlie. You don't care about Hassan. Nobody cares about anything. You only care as much as your parasocial relationship will let you. If I died in a similar position, I don't want to hear one of you bitches crying any tears. You better go do something with that energy. Go feed people, go clean up some streets, go vote, write a fucking novel that would change the world, paint a painting. Okay? I'll be dead. I won't care. My partner will be single. They won't care. Indiana will be motherless. She won't care. Let them suffer because they actually will be without me. But you better use my death to help other people. Not to hate on a whole other group of people. Okay? And I told him, you better not let my mother use my death to go against the left, bro. Can you imagine my mother? My daughter died. You know, my daughter died. And the left killed her. Don't you dare, bro. Don't you dare, you know? Chat says 96K subs and you're making fun of Charlie Kirk. Yeah, 96K subs, but I still go to bed knowing I'm in the right. I mean, Charlie... I'm not even making fun of Charlie. Isn't that interesting? I'm not even making fun of him. I'm stating a fact. He was an evil person. And it's sad he died an evil person. That's not a joke. That's a fact. And it's sad. You should feel sad over that. That right when the bullet hit, he was being racist. For all of you, I wish that you die good people. That's the only thing I hope for myself. I hope I get to die a good person. That would be great. But who knows? You know, who knows? Okay, any comments you guys want me to answer? Chad says, I do think it's exhausting being on the high road. That's why we end up focusing on what Republicans would do, which is cheer and celebrate and be gross. You know, I find it easy because it's my values. Guys, listen to me when I say this. It's very easy when it's actually your values. And I know that's a hard thing for you to process because you might be activated and that's not your values. But in that moment when I was meditating yesterday and I was trying to figure out how to react, I just felt sad. I felt sad for everybody there. I felt sad for his kids. I felt sad for everybody. And at some points, I felt annoyed at the president, but I felt sad. And I didn't care what Republicans said, and I don't care what they say now. I don't care what Hassan is doing or Ethan, but I'll say this. I would love to see them learn from this situation and get better. You know, if you're activated, you say things you don't mean. Okay, I get it. Sometimes you want to be snarky. Heck, just a second ago, I restrained myself because, girl, I'm funny. And I told myself not to make jokes today because I'm trying really hard to take seriously what this is. Because, yeah, there's a part of all of us, right, that wants to really clap back, especially around people who are bad faith. Because you know you're bad faith, guys. You can't come into my chat and talk about how Charlie Kirk was a good person. There's nothing about him, nothing about his values or how he made his money. He literally said he's a capitalist. The man with his own mouth told you every day he was a bad person. And I am more sad for him than you are for him, even though you want to say you are. For all the people that think they're angry over Charlie Kirk dying or they feel sad for him, no, you don't. You love him the way you enable your drug-addicted siblings. Instead of helping them and saving them and supporting their rehab, you supply them with the narcotics. You don't love him. You don't love yourself. You don't love yourself enough to get sober or to love life enough to be good to people. You don't love him. You're not mad he's dead. You're mad that somebody else can't say the hateful thing in your heart that you wish you could say. And so you can't live through him anymore. So now you'll probably be a fan of somebody else who's hateful, and all of your anger, all of your especially white man anger that exists in the world right now because you feel so neglected by a system that was made for you no longer exists through Charlie Kirk, and now you got to find a new avenue. Well, don't worry. There's so many to pick from. Have fun choosing. Okay? Ted says, what if, say, my brother has actual tears in real time? What do I say? Say, if your family member is crying over Charlie Kirk, say, I'm so proud of you for sharing vulnerability and being sad and having empathy. And I'm so proud of you for in this moment being vulnerable enough to say that you're sad over the death of somebody else. And I'm so proud that maybe you've learned how to utilize this in other avenues of your life. I hope you take this compassion and move it outward. I hope you find new people to be compassionate for. I hope you have tears for the children in Palestine and everybody else. You know, I saw a TikToker say Dean Withers got on stream and cried over Charlie Kirk, and I've never seen him once cry for children in Palestine. And I think that's the point. Now, maybe Dean Withers has cried, but he's probably just crying because he knew Charlie, and now he's realizing he's mortal. And now all these people are realizing, like, okay, they have, well, when men face their mortality, am I right? White men who are privileged, who have no idea that every day some of us live with the fear that maybe we're next, don't understand it. So this is like the first time some of these people are like really thinking about it. Like, oh shit, this could happen to me. And they don't think about it when they're advocating for guns, even though in school shootings, every parent who's terrified of taking their kids to a public school is thinking, damn, is today the day my kids die? Is today the day? Am I going to get the call? I have so many family in education, and all of them are terrified that one day they're going to get that call, that siren, that realization that their school is in lockdown. People are really traumatized in the United States. Guys, our schizophrenics hear and see things that are different than people around the globe. Our mentally ill, our people who are suffering, suffer more because of our culture. Our culture is so violent. I'm not even kidding you. This isn't even a joke. Watch MasterChef Canada and then go watch MasterChef America, US, and you will see in the media how violent, awful, insulting, and evil America is because our culture is so violent. You will just see it in the way we treat people. Look at the president. Look at the president. You know? Chad says Dean cried because his friend Parker was there too. I think you're right. It was because people chose to be close to him. Parker was there. I saw those videos too. And I know Parker was shaken up because he was there and he was scared. Why was he there? Why was he supporting Charlie Kirk? Why was he promoting him? Why did these men make a career on the internet debating people that ended up uplifting them? When are you going to get it that Republicans can't get famous without you? Like, when are you going to get it that you know you can't get famous without Republicans? That you need to make a fight with these men. Parker was there for fame. He was there to debate or interact or promote. He showed up. And I'm saying stop doing that. Stop showing up to Charlie Kirk events. Stop going to Steven Crowder events. Stop going to Ben Shapiro events. Stop going viral, taking down Jordan Peterson. I know it feels good. It's not helping. It's not good. You're going to spend all of that time doing so many other things. Talk about it in your own content. Talk about them. Don't interview them. Talk about them. Don't collab with them. Talk about them. Don't pay to go to their events or show up and use your limited time on earth going to these events. Okay? Right? Okay. Chat says, is it certainly support? Parker and Dean couldn't take any fame away from him, hypothetically. Okay, guys. When we talk about values, we were talking about doing the right thing no matter what, right? We're talking about the right thing, okay? Where is it the right thing to collaborate with Charlie Kirk? Where is it the ethical thing to show up to his events? Where is it the correct action to platform Charlie Kirk? Where in making the decision to DM, associate, or troll does that exist? Okay? Explain that. Here, I'll show you this video.
It's a very move on your part to keep avoiding Dean.
Then debate me.
People like
Let
you-
me on the mic. Let me on the mic.
Get Dean on the mic. That's the whole reason I came up here.
Thank you.
Move for you to keep avoiding him.
This was Dean's whole plan. I'm going to bring these people here.
We've been told by every single one of Kirk's staffers that he doesn't want to talk to us. I have some disagreeing questions. Do you think I could ask him?
Well, that's something you're going to have to talk to somebody else about.
The reason we weren't let in line is because we don't go to college. But apparently neither does a guy on the mic. We're in MAGA territory now. We need to be very respectful.
Hey, Charlie, Dean's here. Dean. Come on.
You have a permit? We should talk. Trying to talk to Charlie Kirk, but it's not working. Do you think me and Kirk should have a conversation?
100%.
You got to get me up there, man.
You may be purposely ignoring you.
This has proven to be very difficult.
I think that we are in the free marketplace of ideas. Anyone should be able to come up here and challenge and debate you. If you're really for that, as you say you would allow someone to come up here and debate you on that.
It's a very
What is that? How is this ethical? This is on Dean Withers' official TikTok. Okay, it's Dean. What is the point of this? What is it? What's the point of it? Why'd you do it? Because he knows it's the easy way to fame. He has 4 million subscribers or 4 million followers on TikTok. What do you need to talk to him for? What do you need to talk to him for? It's clout chasing. That's what it is. And it's unethical. Okay?
Charlie Kirk is dead. He got shot at an event that he was hosting in Utah. And I am sad, distraught. In fact, I just cried on my live stream in front of 250,000 people. My goal in this video is to tell you why I feel this way. If you want to end gun violence, it is something that you can never celebrate. It is always disgusting, always vile, and always abhorrent. It should come as no shock to yourself when I tell you that I think Charlie Kirk was a bad person. I've made that very clear over the last year, but does that mean I think he deserves to lose his life? No. Does that mean I think his 2 young children who were in attendance at the event where he was shot deserve to watch their father die? No. Does that mean I think they deserve to grow up without him? No. Does that mean I think that his wife, who was also there, deserved to lose her husband? No. And honestly, if you answered yes to any of those questions, there's a very clear line drawn between me and you. I don't want your support, and I don't support you either. We as a collective need to end gun violence, and if that phrase is negotiable for you, I believe that you're in the wrong. My thoughts and prayers go out to Charlie Kirk's friends, family.
Does Dean believe in God? When he says like my thoughts and prayers go out to Charlie's friends and family and stuff, do you believe in God? What are you praying for? Who are you praying to? What does that sentiment even mean? It's performative. Is he a Christian? Oh, is he a Muslim? Does he believe in God? Who does he worship?
Family, children, loved ones, as well as every single person in attendance at his event today in Utah.
My prayers don't go out to anyone. I don't pray. My thoughts are with people who are going to be traumatized over this event, as they are with every single person in the world who is traumatized and being born into this planet every day. Okay? Gun violence is horrible and that's why we need legislation against gun violence. But just a reminder that when a bad person dies, that doesn't take away that their legacy they died with is that they were evil. Okay? You need to be able to remind people, because somehow people always forget in death that people were evil, but they were evil. So again, do not celebrate his death. Do not get giddy over his death. For the sake of your own sanity, do not celebrate his death, but you do not have to mourn it. If you don't want to, you can if you would like. You can feel indifferent. You can feel apathetic, but you cannot celebrate it. Okay? Ted said you can believe in God and not believe in religion. Sure, and you can believe in Santa Claus and, somehow still be able to vote. Here we are, okay? Lock in, kids. Saying I believe in God, but I don't follow a religion is literally saying I believe in Santa Claus. So just in case, I put out my stockings and milk and cookies out every year, just in case. You believe what you want to believe, girl. Okay? My point still stands. Okay? So again, when we have these conversations, we have to understand we are all debating what goodness is, what ethics are, what values are. And most people do not know what their values are. Every single person who voted for Trump, who refuses to engage in a reality where he was found liable for sexual assault, they are contributing to a world where a rapist gets to be in the White House, where a sexual assaulter gets to be in the White House, where a misogynist gets to be in the White House. Okay? And Charlie Kirk was friends with that rapist, promoted that rapist, and on the day he died wore his Make America Great Again hat. He wore the hat of a rapist, and he died being racist. And that's devastating. Okay? Dying an evil person is devastating. And yet here we are. Okay? Chad says, but would you guys celebrate when Hitler died? No. I think everyone has their own right to express how they feel. I don't see, what's the point of celebrating that Hitler died? Relief that the Jews are free? The difference between celebrating Hitler's death and the freedom of the Jews is different. Okay, guys, if there are any mods in my chat, please ban anybody who's saying it was a trans shooter. Ban any Islamophobia, transphobia, homophobia, all this stuff. Block the homophobias. Okay, celebrating Hitler's death is different than celebrating the relief of knowing we're going to free the Jews. These are two different things. Okay, this is a philosophy channel. Think about what you're saying. Celebrating the death of a man is not the same thing as being relieved at the liberation of people. Okay? That's different. Being relieved at the liberation of people is happening. I've had so many people, okay, who eventually, predators, abusers, died, and there's always a sense of relief, but I'm not excited they died abusers. I'm not happy they died abusers. My joy would have been in them liberating themselves from their past and being a better person. We should all want people to die good people. The fact that we don't have enough time and don't use our time on earth wisely and we die bad people is a devastation. I'm not happy abusers die abusers. That's devastating. I'm not excited that Charlie Kirk died a bad person. That's devastating. It's devastating to his kids, who, by the way, might grow up to be progressives one day, just like I grew up to be a progressive one day. His kids might grow up to be trans, gay. They might even marry a black person. Uh-oh. God knows he'd hate that. Okay? Chat says, why ban all the phobias? Why is it okay to hate on certain aspects and not others? Who are you? Why are you here? Why are you in my chat? Because you're not one of my fans, right? Who are you? Why are you in my chat? I've never seen your username before. And you ask questions like a white woman who dates a Nazi. So why are you in my chat? I know it because of the way you ask questions. Okay? I do this for a living. I know how a person types, girl. I see your history. I can also look at your comments and see your past comments. Why are you in my chat? Why are you in my why is almost 700 of you in my chat when I know you guys are not here every day, girl? I stream 5 days a week. Half of you don't even watch my content. You don't even know why you're here. You're here because your fave was killed, and now you want to be mad at the person making content who's even being compassionate to your fave. That's what's even crazier. Is I have the audacity to sit here and show compassion to the dead while still holding him accountable. Can you do the same? Probably not. Can you hold your favorite accountable? Or no, you just agree with his talking points? His racist, homophobic, transphobic talking points. Cool. Love that. Okay? I said I'm a VOD gang, but today I really needed this moral and value reminding. We all need it. In the same way that I said it after they tried to assassinate Trump and that firefighter died. Why are you celebrating the firefighter's death? Are you insane? You're an unsafe person. If you are celebrating the death of a bystander in a congregation or an audience or whatever you want to call it, you're dangerous. You're a bad person. Okay? I said the same thing I said when that happened. I said the same thing I do anytime I see unnecessary suffering. This is unnecessary suffering. I will never advocate for you to unnecessarily suffer. Okay? Whoops. Chat says, does Break get a lot of white females in here spewing their internalized misogyny when events like this happen? I feel like I always get the centrist, libertarian, Republican adjacent people in my chat when shit like this happens. Yeah. I feel like what happens is because women uphold the patriarchy and white women are the biggest criminals when it comes to this. You know, they're raised with this belief that they understand men better and they just get it. Other girls don't get it. They're valuable more than brown girls and gay girls and trans girls. And they just like, even if they're Democrat, end up internalizing some sense of pick-me-ism that ends up getting, you know, fueled when they see a man die, a man they, you know, in their head would have liked to look at probably. Right? Chat says, actually, if you look at my past comments, they're probably 5, and I'm married to an Israeli and believe all humans have the right to vote who they want to be. I didn't vote for Trump either. Why are you telling me you're married to an Israeli? That's not going to help you. Is this Israeli pro-genocide? Are they a Zionist? Is the Israeli pro-Palestine? Or is the Israeli a Netanyahu voter? What are you talking about, girl? That's not going to help you. You did not just help your point. See how you think that helped you? Girl... Guys, I'm married to a black guy, but he's a Republican. Don't worry. I'm married to a Jew, but they're a Zionist. Don't worry. Girl, how is that going to help? Like, what did you think that was? Thank you for telling me? I guess. Congratulations. You know what I mean? Israel's committing a genocide. You know what thanks. Jesus. Lord, help me. These people are testing me. Okay? And I was raised in a satanic household and I'm not white, neither is my husband. Your picture's white. Was that a decision to make? Listen, you know, I'm white, but I'm Assyrian. You know, girl, are you like from the Caucasus Mountains like I am? Because, you know, we're still white. I don't know if you could see the skin color. It's interesting that your avatar is white. Just like decisions were made. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Is your skin brown? Okay? Because unless your skin is brown, you're white racially. even if you're not European. Got it? Okay, thank you. All right. All right, any questions, comments? This is all we're covering today, girls. This is the Charlie Kirk stream. I want to give you hope that you don't have to feel bad if you feel bad about him dying as a human, but you maybe should feel bad if you're angry he died and you're not angry Palestinian kids died. Okay? Sweetly, $5 super chat. Thank you. Says, thank you, Britt, and everyone else who's here in good faith. Yeah, same. Thank you for everyone who's here in good faith, right? You said he actually doesn't agree with anything going on in Israel. Habibi, listen to me. You asked me, why ban all the phobias? Homophobia, Islamophobia. You said, why ban that from your chat? Why is one hate better than the other? Who the fuck do you think we are hating? When I say ban, if I say ban racism, and you say, why ban racism? When you won't ban the other stuff? What other stuff? What do you think your comment meant to convey to me? That you were upset that I wanted Islamophobia and homophobia and transphobia banned from my chat? What do you think you were conveying to me when you are upset that I am banning hate speech? What do you think that is? What do you think you are conveying to me? Conveying to my audience about your stance, right? Discord said, how do you think we can evolve past this era of violence that we are in as people? Radically accept that we won't, and we never will. We must accept first, okay? We must accept first. No, guys, let people chat. You have to understand, one, they're paying my bills, and two, they're promoting this video out for YouTube to promote it out so new people join our audience who are actually here in good faith. They are allowed to speak their mind if they disagree with me. They just can't be hateful. I don't want to ban people who disagree. I want to ban the obviously not good faith people, and I want to ban the bigots. But everybody else gets to stay. Okay? So you can disagree with me, but I'm going to show you how you're wrong. Okay? Next, you must accept that human beings as an evolved species over millions of years have yet to mitigate harm in a large scale. And this comes from our inability to actually profoundly understand that we're evolved animals. So usually when people sink in denialism, they go, oh my God, we're animals, we're a floating rock in space, nothing matters. Your predisposition to think nothing matters is the issue. Instead of being sort of, wow, and I get it, I've been through the journey myself, I get it. Okay, realizing that, oh my God, wait, there's so much potential for good here. There's so much potential for love here. There's so much potential for cohesion here. Pause. Wait a second, girls. Let's fucking cook. Let's harm reduce. Let's figure it out. Let's feed people, bro. Let's clothe people. Let's do some shit. You know, your depressive predisposition to thinking like nothing matters, so I should just be a bad person. Okay, that's a turmoil within yourself. That's an ugliness within yourself, a philosophical ugliness, right? And I'm saying deconstruct that. I'm saying, hear me out. Systems can't be upheld unless we participate in them and uphold them. Now, obviously, we understand that we must participate in the world because we are a part of the world. But you can harm reduce within and outside the system. And you don't have to choose violence, though sometimes it happens. Okay? Sometimes violence is the answer, but rarely. And the question is, are you wise enough to know if this is the rare circumstance in which violence is necessary? This reminds me of the hypothetical question. If somebody's robbing your house and just stealing a TV and items in your home, do you have the right to shoot them? If you can guarantee that the person robbing you is not going to harm you and they're just stealing your things, do you go down to kill them? Yes or no? Obviously, the answer is no, because human life is more important than televisions. But the fact that a lot of people say yes is the issue. So you need to ask yourself, why would I say yes to this? Now, I grew up in a bubble where they would say yes to this. If you're in my home, I'm going to shoot you. And I would say to you, the philosophical quandary of whether or not in a position of power you choose violence is the test. Okay? That's the test. Do you and are you actually anti-violence in a way that is as best as you can consistent? Because again, it's hard to say we're anti-violence and then we eat animals unnecessarily. Because again, animals are killed every day so unnecessarily. You are not, you are throwing out food every day, right? We are throwing out millions of pounds of food all of the time, right? We are just wasteful as a country. I'll hold America more accountable because I'm from there. Even though I live in Croatia now, as you guys know, shout out Croatia. Dobar dan. Hello, everybody. Okay. Super chat from Barack says, appreciate your take and values. It will help me face my mom and mother-in-law this weekend when we celebrate my son's birthday. Thank you. Good luck, bros. What is this? Non-popular salt. Thank you for the super chat. Says randomly recommended your channel. I think I will stay a while subbed. Welcome, welcome. Happy to have you guys here. Again, we don't want to advocate for violence. We want to learn to be more wise, so we rarely have to enact it. Right? But again, I think there's something to be said about making a prescription, which I'll never do. I'm not interested in telling you what to do with your life. I'm asking you to question if you know what you're doing with your life. It's really easy to grow up in a world that gives you a script, and so you come to conclusions based off that script and you think you know things. Guys, we're not as smart as we think we are, but we have the potential to be so much more kind, so much more compassionate, you know? Chat said, silly question in the midst of everything. Can you join this Discord only through supporting the Patreon? Yes. The Discord is a perk of people who get to support the content. Obviously, I'm 40% fan funded, so it means everything to me to get super chats and everything. Guys, I appreciate it so much. I am not one of those YouTubers who make like a ton of money, but I'm definitely a YouTuber who gets to do it full time anyways. I live a very minimal lifestyle, and I'm very happy to do this full time. But it is, I am 40% funded. So it really means everything for me. And we are 18 plus. Because again, as a way of protecting kids in our community, not that there's many who watch me, most of the people who watch me are older. I don't want teenagers in my Discord. So it is actually also 18 plus. But we have philosophical events. Every Sunday there's an event. We do professional yoga once a month. And we're actually about to start deconstructing episode by episode The Good Place. So if you guys are interested in discourse, come join us. Just a reminder though, we are very progressive, very LGBT, very deconstructing, very anti-white supremacy, anti-capitalist. So if that's your vibe, join us. If it's not your vibe, stay away. Okay. We have hard conversations over there, but we're usually kind and patient with everybody. So come join us, especially if you're neurodivergent or autistic. I'm an autistic girly and we're happy to have you there, of course. Chat said, Britt, I woke up yesterday asking why people were crying over a transphobic, was this Christo fascist? And I was met by many accusing me of celebrating his death. I think that's what people don't understand. You can be indifferent to someone's death without celebrating it. You are not obligated to mourn the death of a bad person. You are not morally, ethically obligated to do this. Ethics, morals are constructs. There's no such thing as objective morality. We have no access to it. Everything is through our limited perception, right? So when you choose to mourn, you are allowed to feel sad. I talked to my partners about this yesterday. I said, man, I'm really sad. And he said, yeah, you care about people. And I said, man, I'm just devastated. All those people in the crowd, all those people, you know what I mean? His kids, just what brought the shooter to it, everything. Just this is so bad for everybody. Trump's going to use this to hurt people. Just the escalation is going to get worse. And that's the thing, right? Is that I do care enough about people, but I don't care about people enough to cry over Charlie Kirk's death. Because to care about Charlie Kirk's death would to say that I would be crying over an evil person dying. And I think that's immoral. I think it is immoral to cry over an evil person's death, but not to cry because a person died evil. Know this, there is a difference. To cry for the consciousness that is Charlie is evil. To cry over the reality that a man died evil is necessary. Because it is absolutely a bigger picture than just Charlie. Our family, our friends, our politicians, our neighbors, we are all at risk of dying bad people. And the greatest thing we can hope for each other is that we get to die good people. And it didn't happen for Charlie. It didn't happen for him. And that's devastating. But I'm not sad the evil person known as Charlie Kirk died. I'm sad Charlie Kirk died an evil person. That's sad, bro. Okay, let's see. Chat says, Brittany, do you have to pay double the taxes with you living in Croatia? Guys, that's kind of a personal question at this point, and I do pay taxes to both countries. But to call it double tax is a kind of interesting. I'm paying people to take care of it, but yes, I do pay taxes to both Croatia and America. It is what it is. Chat says I blocked everyone who said Charlie Kirk was a good voice or something. Yeah, I think that's what it is. You know, like people who are like, oh my God, Charlie Kirk was such a good person. Da, 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 da. No, he wasn't. He wasn't a good person. He was a very bad person. And you should consider maybe you're a bad person if you think he's a good person. He was a very bad person. I'm so sorry to be the one to tell you. You know, he's a very bad person. Yeah. Chad said, for me, when it comes down to death itself, it's not even sadness. It's just exhaustion with the state of the world. Yeah, I think it's okay if you're feeling exhausted to take a break and come back. I also think it's important to know, like, when you are so exhausted, you're not feeling apathy. You know, Chad says it's crazy you have to pay taxes when you move out of the country. United States is one of the 3 countries that makes you do it. North Korea, United States, and I always forget the third one. But yeah, there's only like 3 countries in the world that make you pay tax, even if you don't live there. And America's one of them. America is evil, bro. And I can't wait to liberate her from her evil. She deserves it. We all deserve it. But it was founded on evil. It maintains its evil. And if we can do anything, it would be to help Americans be liberated from how fucking disconnected they are from the rest of the world. The rest of the world looks at us and thinks, Jesus, they're a mess. We are the Logan Paul of the globe. And that Logan Paul advocated for Trump to be elected. So just remember, okay? Aiden Ross, all these men contribute to the Trump administration happening, okay? It said forever you have to pay tax to the U.S. As far as I know, yep. I mean, maybe there's some rich person loophole, but I'm not one of those rich people, so I don't know if there's a loophole, you know? Brittany, do you have any advice for someone like me who wants to spread kindness but is also scared of the world when I'm brown, queer, and speak Spanish openly? You don't have to use your face. You can be an anonymous kind of person on the internet. You can pay an independent artist to make you a little avatar and show up that way. You can do local stuff. You can work with people who are like you, and so you're powerful in numbers. You can donate, you know. Like, you can do a lot of things, but I think mostly you can work on making sure your life is good and the people around you are served. Like, you are serving the rest of the world around you, like your vicinity, your 6-foot radius, right? Like, I think there's just like a feeling of saving the world that's unnecessary. Guys, we're never going to save the world. So we have to do our best. Again, we're just trying to harm reduce. We're not trying to be perfect. Again, when Republicans and conservatives talk about good versus evil and doing the right thing, they're not even doing the right thing. That's why it's confusing. How do people who preach every day about doing the right thing also preach about being evil and bigoted? So again, don't compare yourself to evil. Wake up every day and ask yourself, is this thing I'm engaging with part of harm reduction? In what way every day can I do a little bit less bad? Okay, we always say that, you know, recycling is a form of the privileged. And I know people get, you know, sort of like down in the dumps about recycling because everything you own. And here's a better example if recycling's too hard for you, but it is a privilege to take the time to recycle. Let me tell you, every piece of clothing you own will eventually end up in a landfill. So just keep that in mind when you're consuming, buying new things. Do you need this? Following trends, you know, engaging in capitalism. Listen, you're not a capitalist because you have a job or you're being paid for your labor. So you're doing your best. I am never going to ask you to be perfect. I'm just going to say, wake up every day and just say to yourself, okay, what's one way I could do one thing better today? And just do that. Okay, just do that. Just do one little thing every day because it really makes a difference. You know, keep your phone as long as you can. Don't buy the new phone every year. You know, don't buy things just because it's trending. Just every day think of one little thing. You know what I mean? Just one little thing you can do. Okay? Where is this? Where is it? Where's that Carlin guy? I'm blocking you from chat, bro. If you think Charlie Kirk was a genuinely good person, you can be banned. I don't need you chatting in my chat. You know? Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Chad said it's more nuanced than let's all get together. If someone wants my rights taken away, how am I supposed to just shut up and get along with them? That's not peace, that's silence. Yeah, I think the difference is like, okay, it's like, you know when America tortured people in Guantanamo Bay and they said we have to, even though they kept a man there for 20 years who was never charged with a crime? Yeah, you're not a good person when you hurt other people. Guys, you can't hurt other people and be a good person. Sorry. Standing up for yourself is not the same though. So how do you stand up for yourself? And this is why we say when we reach out to Ching, We say, you know, mourn the death of your enemies, though you should have none. Mourn the death of the people who are at the other side of your sword, though there should be none. If you're put in that position, mourn them. A good person mourns. But a good person doesn't have to mourn in all circumstances, especially in a circumstance in which they did not cause the death. It's okay to mourn a life. It's okay to say thank you or mourn the life of the animal that is like going to feed you. It's okay to mourn what could have been. It's okay to mourn what used to be. Okay? When people are advocating for taking away your civil rights, you have to acknowledge, and this is the hard part, everybody's doing that and no one's doing that. And it's hard to really understand that. This is why Republicans will try to pinkwash a Palestinian struggle. Guys, I'm not anti-genocide because Palestinians are progressive. I'm anti-genocide because it's unethical. You can't kill Palestinians because you want their land. I don't care if all of them are Charlie Kirk fans, which some of them might be. You can't genocide them. It's about doing what's right, knowing what's right, regardless of the details. I don't need to know the details. I'm not killing you, bro. I'm not killing you through, I'm not advocating for this, okay? So you have to think about that. You have to think about not saying, well, Palestinians are homophobic and like there's gay Palestinians. Okay? Again, shooting up Palestine to kill, quote, Hamas is like shooting up American, malls to kill Nazis. No. And the fact that you get away with this justification is crazy. Okay? Chad said, have you ever thought that many people think you're a bad person? Even if you think Charlie's a bad person, then every person on earth is a bad person. Yeah, you get it. No. Don't block this person. No. They're right. Yeah, everybody's a bad person. They're correct. Don't block them. Yeah, mods, hold up. Yeah. Every person is a bad person, philosophically speaking. Okay? What are we going to do about that? Well, we can do preventative work. We can try to be less bad every day. We can hold people accountable. Now, is everyone bad on in the same way? No, obviously not. Okay, it's a spectrum. So there's a line here in the sand. Okay, right? Let's do this. Let's do truly bad. Okay. And oopsie bad. Oops, bad. Okay. There are people who are bad on purpose, these people, and people who are bad because of circumstance or accident. You want to be at least here. If you are anywhere on this side, which Charlie Kirk was, you are just truly bad. Okay? He's in a position of privilege. He is educated. He has every reason to be a better person and chooses never to be. Therefore, truly bad. Then there are oopsies bad, people who are put into circumstances, uneducated, naive, don't do the work, or people who are, or doing the work, but they're struggling. So then there's like people like me. I'm a good person. And I know I'm a good person because the data shows it. Now, I might be this much of a good person, or maybe I'm this much of a good person, or hell, maybe I'm even this much of a good person. But I am a good person. I wake up every day and advocate anti-violence unless absolutely necessary. I came today to this chat to say Charlie Kirk's death was unnecessary violence, unwise, and unkind. I came today, as I do on every day on stream, and say we should mitigate harm, that we should advocate for feeding, clothing, and educating people, even bad people, that you deserve better than the world you were born into, so we should work to make the world a better place, okay? But I am a good person who sometimes does bad things, who often does bad things, okay? But the bad things that I'm doing are nowhere comparable to the bad things that Charlie Kirk has done. Do not let these men gaslight you to think we are all bad in the same way. We might all be bad, but girl, you are engaging in philosophical evil so disgusting that I almost wish you got to live another day for the chance that you might have had a chance of dying a good person. Okay? Chat, thank you for the super chat. Says, here's my tithe for being a little too relieved about Charlie. I'll never cry for that man, but thanks for grounding me a bit. Hey, be relieved. Be relieved. Sometimes it's relieving to know one less, evil person is gone, but how sad, huh? So again, we're all bad, but we are not bad in the same way. Okay? You guys sound like that streamer Destiny, who said, don't worry, Ethan Klein and all these people, they're secretly all bad. Yeah, maybe you guys are, but some of us, we're not on the internet making pedo jokes. Some of us, we're not talking about being naked in front of kids. Some of us, we're not here recording people against their consent and posting it, okay? Or sharing it with people so it got hacked and was posted. No. We might all be bad, but I'm bad in the sense that I don't get enough sleep, so I'm a little cranky in the morning. Or sometimes I give people a look in public that maybe I should have been kinder. Or maybe I didn't say thank you enough today. Our bad is a different kind of bad. So do not let these men gaslight you into thinking we are all bad the same way. Philosophically speaking, we are all bad, but we are not bad the same way. Okay? We are not bad the same way. Now, that's what they're trying to do, right? So this person comes into chat and they rage bait, okay? They come in and they go, if he's a bad person, you're a bad person. Joke's on you, we're all bad people. Next. Well, if we're all bad people, it doesn't matter. No, if we're all bad people, it matters even more. And it matters even more to make sure that you know what kind of a bad person you are. It's not a gotcha that you think it is. You lack a humility. You lack a humility. But you also lack a self-confidence that allows you to say, I am a good person. Now, hold up, wait a second. Why did this evil man even try to convince me that I was even close when I'm literally not even doing that? I know people who beat themselves up for giving a bad look to a person for 2 weeks, while other people get on a platform and with a microphone in their hand, call for a genocide of a whole population and don't even sweat about it. Yeah, we're different kinds of bad, bro. It eats me up at night when I think I was too mean to a nice person on the internet. And you go to sleep at night knowing you're spreading rumors on the internet about people you know absolutely aren't true just because you feel vindictive. Yeah, we are not the same. We are not the same. Okay? We are not the same. Okay, any last questions on this? I'll answer any question you throw at me. Just make it good. Just make it smart. Just make it compassionate. Let's go. I'll answer the question. Okay, I don't know why 600 of you are watching. Maybe you're hate watching. Maybe you're learning something. Maybe you're subscribing. But I'll answer a question, girl. This is a philosophy channel. My name is Brittany Simon. I do philosophy through pop culture. And we are here to advocate for a better world without making prescriptions. Okay? Chad says, I get what you mean, Brittany, but remember that your perspective can never be truly objective no matter how much data you use. I agree, you're good, but that's based on my values. Why did you share that? Right? Why'd you put but? Do you know but means you're in disagreement? I get what you mean, Brittany, but remember, okay? So now you're doing a thing where you're trying to say something, but what are you trying to say? I agree that you're good, but that's based off my values. Yes. Why did you share that message when we were talking about a person advocating for genocide? Right? Like, why did you write that message there? Expand on that because I want to know. Okay? Chet said, are you Europeans unique in their cruelty and genocide? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. Chet said, what do we do next? We meditate. Right? We meditate. We make a list of nice things to do today. We call our loved ones. We ground ourselves, right? Chet said, do you think this is going to be a trend? We're living history, maybe. I'd like to think not. I'd like to think this isn't going to be a trend. But I would like to once again point fingers at the patriarchy for thinking violence is the answer, right? Chet says, how do we talk about this reasonably without seeming to be using a death for our own political agenda? Remember that Charlie Kirk's death is not unique or special, and that his death isn't what we're really talking about, are we? It doesn't matter that Charlie Kirk died. What matters is that a person took it into their own hands to kill a person in a crowd of people that didn't deserve to wake up today and see that. The real tragedy here is all the people who had to witness that death. The tragedy is not in Charlie Kirk dying, though that is a form of tragedy. The real tragedy is the fact that we live in a society where a singular person in any way justified that form of violence. And yet it is not far off from the way this administration has kidnapped, advocated, subjugated groups of people. The troops are literally in the streets in the United States right now. Didn't that man who threw a sandwich at the cop possibly face 8 years for throwing a sandwich? What are we talking about here? Chet says, why can't you just say that it was wrong? Why can't you just be sorry that a man is dead? I didn't kill him. Why would I need to be sorry? Think about what you're saying. Why would I be sorry? I didn't kill him. Why would I be sorry? Why in the world would I be sorry? You got to think about what you're saying. You have no empathy? Well, it's pretty hard to have empathy for a person in a position that I would never be in. And it's also hard to have empathy for a person who said that his death would be worthy of a cause if it meant promoting and keeping the Second Amendment alive. But you know who I do have empathy for? Humanity that dies evil. And Charlie Kirk, in that way, I have empathy for him. Yeah, I'm not in that position. How could I have empathy? I have empathy for the crowd. I have empathy for the fact that this death will probably be utilized to hurt a lot of people. You know, I'm not sorry. I didn't do it. Okay? Yeah, it's hard to have empathy for a very unempathetic person. He advocated for the subjugation of every minority you can think of. You know? Charlie Kirk thinks empathy is a woke concept and is useless. It's evil. Charlie Kirk thinks it's evil, right? How is he evil? Give me one clip. You should go back and watch the beginning of stream. Okay? Chat says, I would ask myself, what would Uncle Iro do? Thank you so much for the super chat. Exactly. What would Uncle Iro do? He wouldn't have empathy for Charlie Kirk, you know? He wouldn't have empathy for Charlie Kirk. He would literally understand that he was a sad, angry, hateful man. And he would wish for his liberation. I wished for Charlie Kirk's liberation, but he didn't choose to do it. So he died an evil person, and that's sad. So I'm not sorry because I didn't do it, but I'm sad he died an evil man. And I'm going to go ahead and block you because you're spamming my chat, and it's just like it's not helping anybody, but thank you for promoting my video to YouTube by posting so much. Chat said, is there a clip of him saying empathy is evil? Yes, I shared it at the beginning of stream. I can go find it again if you would like me to. Just this clip, just this one, because I already showed it. I'm not going to go back and find the 20 clips.
I can't stand the word empathy.
Hold on, let me get you a video. Ba-da-da, da-da-da-da. And this is the same rhetoric the conservatives have been using, like Elon Musk and everybody else, right?
Actually, I think empathy, I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage.
You had a daughter and she was...
Okay. Are you happy? Okay. It is what it is. The man, you know, that's how he existed in the world. It's what he preached. And, you know, they say you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And that was Charlie Kirk. He lived by the gun and he died by the gun. He said that people dying was the price he was willing to pay to keep the Second Amendment alive. At least he died believing or standing on his values. At least now his family better maintain that energy. Or hopefully they have a change of heart. Because sadly, this is the part that sucks. It sucks that our family has to die for us to bring reform. Matthew Shepard's mother, Matthew Shepard was a gay man who died, okay, pinned to a fence, bled out because of homophobia. And his mother said, until my son died, I never realized how my homophobia killed my son, right? I hope that Charlie Kirk's family realizes that they have believed and uplifted a rhetoric that eventually contributed to Charlie Kirk dying. And that's devastating. I hope that his wife, when she is done mourning, because of course she'll need some time, uses this as an opportunity to protect other people's husbands and other people's fathers and other people's sons from being gunned down in a country that is so gun crazy. That's what I hope. That's what I hope. And it sucks. It really sucks that sometimes people in our life have to die or tragedy has to hit our family to care. And I understand, you know, you get exhausted over being empathetic over every situation. But that's why I say pick and choose your battles. If you're wearing yourself down so you're not good to your local community, guys, think globally, act locally, okay? So think globally, think about the world, okay? But do action locally because that's what you have power in. You can't save the world, but you can contribute locally to hopefully it moving into the rest of the world, okay? So Charlie Kirk did a lot of harm locally and it extended out globally, right? That's bad. Okay. So again, we have to think about this, right? Chet says, I do think this is the person who had a butt with me earlier. I do think there's no question Charlie Kirk is the worst person philosophically speaking than most, but celebrating death will never feel right to me. Do you think I am celebrating his death? Do you think that's what's happening? Do you think that I came on this stream today and you have watched, how long have I been live? 2 hours? Give me one time in this stream I have celebrated his death. I literally made a suggestion to my audience to never celebrate the death of a person. So in what world would you put this in my comment section? And why are we here? We are not celebrating. And the fact that anybody, especially a paid member, might even argue that that's happening, you better correct yourself. Because in no way am I advocating for the celebration of his death. Okay? Chad said that's the problem. His supporters think not mourning him is celebrating his death. Exactly. You think me not mourning his death is celebrating his death. Absolutely not. You know? Rando, welcome to memberships. Okay? Red Song, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that. That says you should react to Asmongold's recent video. Asmongold is an evil person. I'm not reacting to his content. I don't care. I don't care what Asmongold has to say. He was given, I rooted for Asmon so fucking hard, and he failed time and time again. I wanted to believe Asmon could change. I wanted to believe in his goodness, and every fucking chance he was given, he chose to be a bad person. And continues to be a bad person. So unless somehow the message in Asmon's latest video is I am absolutely against everything I've ever stood for and I've never been a good person and I'm going to change, I'm not watching it. Okay? Asmon was given time after time after time opportunity to be a good person and constantly chose to be a bad one. Period. So, no. Okay? All right, guys, we're going to close this live stream if nobody has anything else to say, you know? Chaz, are all conservatives bad? Yes. They're bad in a philosophical sense. I think some of them have really, really good intentions. I think my family is like good, bad people. I think a lot of conservatives are good, bad people. I think they're really good neighbors. I think they're really bad parents and really bad to the people in their lives often. And they're very bad for voting for a rapist. I think philosophically speaking, they're stunted, often ignorant, uneducated. I love my family and I would never want to see harm come to my family, but they are on the wrong side of history. They are choosing to be bad. And it's sad to see. I would love to sit here and brag about how good my family is. They're good in many ways, but they're more bad than they are good. And that's devastating because I really love them. I really, really love them. And I'm so grateful for them, but they are letting evil win. And I hate to see it, girl. You hate to see it. You know, you really do. Red Song, welcome to memberships. I appreciate you. And thank you for the super chat earlier. I really appreciate you, you know. Chat says leftists and liberals can also be bad. If you think us saying that means we hate or condemn conservatives, you're showing your hand. Exactly. Exactly. Liberals and leftists can be bad too. I've seen a lot of leftists celebrating his death. Yeah, I think they're engaging in evil. I hate to see it. I hate to see a leftist celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. It looks ugly, guys. You're looking really ugly right now. You don't have to celebrate it. You don't have to mourn it. You know, you can just be indifferent. Just, it is what it is. What are you going to do? The man lived and died by the sword, or in this case, the gun, you know? Chet said, as a black man, I'm worried that this is such a bad example for what should happen to people like Kirk. I don't think his death is right or should be celebrated. Yeah, I agree. His death is not, it should not be celebrated, right? It shouldn't be celebrated, but his life shouldn't be celebrated either. Hear me when I say this. Do not celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk, but do not celebrate his life. This man did zero good things in his life. Okay? He did not do anything good in his life. He might have been a good neighbor. He might have been a good person sometimes, but his legacy is evil. His legacy is evil. His legacy is evil. Okay? His legacy was evil. And that's devastating. You know, that's really, really sad. Okay? Okay, and I mean that, listen to me when I say this. Your conservative neighbors, you got to love your conservative neighbors, guys. You got to love your conservative family. But that doesn't mean, because you got to be open with boundaries, that you have to hang out with them, that you have to advocate for them in terms of like their bigotry. But you have to be kind to your neighbors. Be kind to the people around you. It means everything. Be a good neighbor. But know that it's okay to be like, damn, I think you're philosophically evil, my bro. And explain why you think that. Okay? Because I love my conservative neighbors. I love my conservative family. But they are wrong. They are deeply wrong. Right? It says, do you think empathy can exist on a spectrum? Well, not only is empathy on a spectrum, but it's diverse. It's like love. There's many kinds of empathy. And it's also something that's inherent, biological, because we're biological creatures, and it's taught. You have to teach your kids to be empathetic, which is why Charlie was so evil, because he spent his life teaching young people to be evil. He spent his whole career teaching people to be evil. Damn. Damn, what a legacy. What a legacy. The fact that my family, my parents in particular, are disappointed that I don't hate trans people, that I'm not bigoted towards gay people, even though I am literally queer. The fact that my family thinks it's sad that I give a safe space to trans people is what's devastating about humanity. How could it be more good to hate trans people than less good? How could it ever be more good to be cruel to trans people? And one, a big part of it is they're not educated. They refuse to read books on trans people, refuse to watch interviews, refuse to engage with trans people. They can't. These Republicans, these conservatives, these MAGA people, they do everything they can to not be educated. That's why Trump came out with his speech and said they're experimenting on trans rats or whatever, or trans mice. Those mice were, which, by the way, as a plant-based person, not excited to, test on animals here, but they were mice that were being tested for cancer research. Transness is a biological experience. Trans people are having a biological experience because we are biological creatures, guys. Everything we do is nature. When the beaver builds a dam, it is within its nature to manipulate nature to fit to its narrative. Gender is a personal relationship with a biological experience. Okay? So you have to remember that. And if you're not going to do the research, if you're not going to read the books to understand it, okay? That's the dilemma we're running into. All right? They're transing the mice, Okay. Hold on. First of all, I just want to go on a ban spree because I feel good about myself and I know that I'm right. So who here thinks Charlie Kirk is not a bad person? Get everybody who types in chat, don't be sarcastic with me today, girls, because you're getting banned. Who thinks Charlie Kirk is a good person? Answer that one. Who thinks Charlie Kirk is a good person? Right? I think Charlie Kirk is a good person. And I'm going to ban you. Be careful how you answer. Do you think Charlie Kirk is a good person? Okay? Go ahead. Tell me right now with your big fat chest that he's a good person so I can ban you. Okay? Do you think Charlie Kirk wasn't a racist, homophobe, and transphobe? Okay? Do you think Charlie Kirk wasn't racist? Okay? Do we think Charlie Kirk wasn't a homophobe? Do we think he wasn't a misogynist? Okay? Do we think that Charlie Kirk wasn't a misogynist? Like, do you want to defend Charlie Kirk right now? Because I'll ban you. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, so this person banned. Oop. This person banned. Thank you. Thank you for speaking up. Let me see. Anything else? You guys are doing pretty good so far. Shout out to my chat. You a lot are sick in the head. Ban this person. Thank you. Let's see. Anything else? Did I miss any? I think we did it. Images released of the shooter. Is that true? Who was it? Let's see. Charlie Kirk shooter. Because I'm sick of the misinformation. I don't see anything. Let's see. Manhunt continues for killer 5 hours ago. Charlie Kirk shot dead 2 hours ago. Shooter's still at large. Guys, shooter's rifle footprint recovered from Charlie's shootout 28 minutes ago. I'm not seeing it. We're not seeing it. BBC? FBI, we don't have one, guys. We're not getting it. I don't see it. Did I miss anybody I should ban, guys? I'll bet Charlie thought Charlie was a good person. That's true. He definitely did. You know? He definitely thought he was a good person. I'm not seeing it, guys. I'm not seeing the news story anywhere. Hold on. Where's this? You guys keep saying ban this person, but I don't see their name. I think I'm missing it. I don't know where. Oh, there it is. Banning people for disagreeing. Yeah, Charlie is evil. You need a reality check. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. Thank you for paying my rent. FBI releases shooter of interest. That's not the same thing. I'm not releasing that. I'm not releasing that. Uh-oh. I don't want to release any images of anybody because the first old man that they released wasn't a real shooter and that old man got harassed. So I don't want to, I know they're releasing images, but I'm worried about releasing the wrong images because again, I don't want people to harass innocent people, but there are pictures the FBI is sharing. Okay. I can post the link. Of course, you guys can check that out. You're an adult. I trust you. I'll post that to my social. But I'm not going to share it on my stream yet. So maybe when I come back tomorrow, we can talk about it if it's confirmed he's the shooter. I already feel bad enough that old man was, you know, yelled at and people were like, how dare you? And he's like, he wasn't even the shooter, bro. Okay. Yeah. Chet says, well, conservatives may be philosophically evil or more. I think when it's practical empathy, how you treat others, friends, and family, I don't see much difference. Many leftists bully. Sure. I think many leftists are unhealed, traumatized people like conservatives. I think they need to go to therapy. I think they need to do meditation work. I think they need to do philosophical work, 100%. Progressives are wounded people in a world that is destructive, 100% agree. I think the issue is that generally from that's the problem. In my lived everyday life, I'm usually treated pretty well by both conservatives and liberals and leftists. The dilemma is when we start talking about civil rights, the conservatives are always the worst. That's the difference. And every time I lived in a Trump town, every time I've been around conservatives, they've been so nice to me until they find out I'm gay, until they find out I believe in trans rights, until they find out I'm free Palestine, until they find out, then it's, why do you think you get to exist? Bro, I'm just trying to eat my baked potato. Why are you doing this to me? Before, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, in my everyday life, people are really, really nice. Until you start mentioning your differences. And then all of a sudden, we're fucking at each other's throats. Remember that a lot of progressives were raised by conservatives, y'all. We go home every fucking year to our families' get-togethers and we put up with our family because we love them. Remember that a lot of the progressives that you know are wounded and traumatized by their conservative parents because their conservative parents raised them in a household where they weren't loved. I mean, they were loved, but they weren't loved unconditionally in the way that like you would think. Though philosophically, I do believe my parents love me unconditionally. I just think they love God at a higher priority, which means that the victim of that priority will be their kids. 10 kids and 3 are gay. Maybe God is trying to tell you that homosexuality ain't that big of a deal. You know? Just saying. Right? Chess says, so what's the fate of these progressives? I think I'm one of them. Your fate is up to you. Meditate, do some work, be kind, show up every day. If you're angry, be angry for the world, not at the world. Start there. Start practicing, because it takes practice to be empathetic in an actionable way. Start being angry for the world instead of at the world. Start there and see what happens, you know? It will really change your life. Conservatives, if you're watching for some weird reason, which never happens, okay? Stop. You know, I know you might have good intentions, but the road to hell is paved in good intentions. So if you're a conservative, ask yourself, are my good intentions helping or hindering? Are my good intentions causing more hate or more kindness? Okay? So if you're a progressive, start being angry for the world, not at the world. And if you're conservative, start asking yourself, are my good intentions actually helping the world, or is it making it worse? And maybe though my intentions are good, I should shift the way that I show up in the world, because I believe you want to help people. So help yourself, and then that will help other people, right? Chad says, I've been doing this since you said it in a video recently. Love that. Love that. You know, I love that. Okay, girls, we did it. I think I'm good for now. I'm going to leave you to it. And I just, you know, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and recognize that we are evolved animals on this planet. It's very difficult to be a good person, but I believe in our ability to do it. And I think it starts with ourselves. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.